everybody. How's it going? We had a great show earlier with Dave and Mike chatting about the shape of the Earth, and we got together to have a little chat about it now, because why not? So let's see. Dave, why don't you take the host duties here? You know, it was kind of your show over on the chat, so, you know, I shouldn't even be talking. Let's give it to Dave here.
Hey, sure. I want to go around very quickly on the panel, excuse me, because I just want to love what everyone thought of it. I thought it was great. I thought it was great fun. We didn't really have to do anything. They just caught fire spontaneously. Awesome. So lovely. Let's start with DK. What did you make of tonight?
Yeah, it's all right. It's nice to be on the P now. Yeah, it was quite a show. David Weiss, what a stupid man that is. Honest to God, really. Oh, would you just shut up? But yeah, so we can talk about it and laugh now quietly in the background. That is behind his back.
as you wish. Matt, M2M, what do we reckon was the best part tonight?
No, I don't want to talk about that. Moving on. Let's move on. I'm joking. I mean, you know, you could have done a Vice phrase bingo at the start and picked some words, can you? I mean, that would have come out first, wouldn't that? Let's move on. Yeah, as predicted. Pretty predictable what he was going to say. Avoiding anything related to math, because big numbers are scary, right? So yeah, but other than that, it was good. I got to do a little bit of Streamlabs stuff, which I haven't done before, which was it was simple enough. My clicking finger is a bit sore though. So yeah, that was my effort for the night. Thank you.
Very nice. Thanks for being in the background, man. Yeah, we really appreciate it. It doesn't always get shown, obviously, on these streams, but there we are. Charlie.
Yes,
Charlie,
Dave.
what did you make of tonight?
Oh man, I was at work ignoring people, trying to navigate the chat and stuff. It was hot in there. It was awesome. But
yeah, you were chatting quite a lot though, to be fair.
Yep, like I said, I was ignoring people at work.
Yeah, were you getting any work done at all?
No, I got paged even, and I was like, nope, didn't hear that one. At home now.
One of those people, they're just counting up.
Where we laugh about it. Yeah.
Are you counting the bit in your head where it's like, if I take a 15-minute shit at work, how much after like a year does it like add up to like 3 days worth of pay? Or that you can count up how much time you spent on
I don't think you can sell your shit to make 3 days of pay out of it.
Dave, do you sit up at night thinking about these things or something, or what? I mean, what?
The moral of this story is pinch until you get to work, get paid to shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Loki, let's go to you first, and then we'll go to Mike, because obviously Mike was on the stream. Loki, what did you make of tonight?
It was a perfect example that they still have yet to look up the definition of the word of evidence.
That's a given.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can take a random picture or video or whatever, but without any information behind it, it's just a random picture or video. You got nothing.
Awesome. What I'll do, dick. What I'll do, I'll just throw in some thoughts, and then I'll throw it over to Mike. So, what I sort of observed, I think everyone else did really as well, is it's just how we define our epistemology. It's how we get to the answer. And it seemed like Mike was saying logic, maths, reason, science, and Dave was saying senses. I can see it. Something more subjective. Is that fair, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the typical Flurf standpoint, because it's simple. You don't have to defend it. You know, there's no, you don't have to have math. You don't have to have any logic. You don't have to have science or physics. You just say, I saw it. It looks flat, therefore it is flat. That's the entire argument. And of course, he did. Yeah, Loki Fish is right. He had no evidence. There's nothing to evaluate for every single claim that he came up with, and he strawmanned the shit out of just about everything that I said. I mean, the centrifugal force thing was a perfect example.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yes, it goes up. So then it won't work. When did I say that? when did I say that it would explode? To quantify that, because it has to get bigger. And by how much? Enough to not work. Based on what? And that was pretty much the entire debate in a nutshell right there.
Yeah. He tried to argue, because I don't understand the equation, my version of events are true.
Yeah.
That specifically would be an argument from incredulity, which is one of the things you brought up. I know you were playing fallacy bingo out there, and I was like getting all excited. Yeah, take us through that. Proof, surrogate, and false equivalence. Anything else that you want to throw out there?
Oh yeah, the proof surrogate logical fallacy. That's a good one, because that's where you make the claim, and the claim is the evidence. Because no evidence or proof is given; it's just a claim. So it's a substituting a claim for evidence, and that's probably one of the biggest. Now here we have this picture of the sun. Look, that proves the Earth is flat. How? Give us some data, some numbers to work with. Give us something to evaluate. But you could see it right there. Yes, but you're claiming a cause, but you haven't shown that cause is the cause. What are you talking about? And they don't seem to get that. I mean, that's Gary Wabinga's number one thing. Look, this is how it works. And if you look at this, it's going to do this. And when it does this, I'm right. Okay.
It's as if.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's as if he's given Plato's allegory of the cave, and he's like, "No, the shadow is reality." Like genuinely, you're saying there's a fire that's causing that. No. It's the shadow.
I think it's pretty standard with a lot of flat earthers, is that they kind of use this thing as almost like they're trying to logic and reason things into existence. If I've got the logic and the reason and it makes sense to me, therefore it must be true.
Right.
And that so you wrap that inside all those fallacies, exactly. Wrap all those fallacies inside a kind of like the straw man fallacy, and that's pretty much how it turned out. And I think it's pretty standard, really.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Ooh,
is there much of a difference other than semantics between the proof surrogate and argument by assertion?
Yeah, I think they are actually different. I use as my source logicallyfallacious.com. Where are we here? See, argument from, where is it? Let's see.
That's like a fallacy website?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's
Dr. out there.
Yeah, Dr. Bennett, he wrote a really good book on fallacies and what they actually are. A lot of people don't realize it's nothing but it's an error in reasoning. And, just because you say, oh, that's a appeal to authority doesn't mean squat if you don't know. Because a lot of these fallacies actually have exceptions. Many don't, but many do. See, appeal argument.
Witzett's trying to get a chapter in that book with his salad fallacies.
Yeah, word salad this, salad that. So what did you say? Argument from what?
Assertion.
Oh, for argument.
I'm probably, there must be very subtle logical structure. I should say, for anyone who's actually keeping up with this conversation, whether it's just me and Mike just barking at the moon, each of these fallacies has a very specific logical structure in the form of what is known as a syllogism. So you will have something like A, B, therefore C, and you can point out a very specific, easy to understand mistake in somebody's argument if they use that structure. So you don't actually need to be very knowledgeable on the thing that's being discussed. You just need to know what the structure of their argument is, and if they're using that particular structure, you know that they've messed up logically.
Cool, good point.
Yeah,
and therefore it cannot be true, if at least mathematically, which is the sort of basis of Pythagoras' work, and then all of the other sort of lovely Greek philosophers that then led to scientific method, and then all of the stuff that we have and we enjoy, including the internet connection we are currently using to speak to one another.
There you go.
Must be doing something.
Why does Toon
We keep missing.
Yeah.
We keep missing MCToon.
Yeah. Tune
I
comes
don't know if
in.
they're having an issue. Yeah.
Tune goes out. Tune comes in. Tune goes out.
It's one of my favorite MASH episodes, actually.
High tune and low tune.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I can step out.
Well, he'll try again in a minute here. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and he kept pressing the gas pressure versus atmospheric pressure, which is it is a false equivalence. The two are different. The causes and mechanisms are different. And his whole every time I would bring up something, he would get back to, well, you have to presuppose the globe, and I kept trying to respond, well, you're presupposing flat Earth. And the first time I brought that up, he was like, no, I know it's flat. No, you don't know it's flat. You think, you believe it's flat. So, but it was kind of, and most of these arguments like gas pressure and buoyancy density, it's presupposed and assumed. And he even said it, that gravity doesn't exist. He says, I don't believe in gravity. Well, I don't care that you don't believe in gravity.
Yeah.
You're trying to debunk the globe, and on a globe, gravity would exist. So you have to address it. You can't ignore that point. And he tried so hard. I don't believe in gravity. I don't give a shit.
Gravity made it the sphere it is, right, Mike?
Yes, exactly. Toon, welcome.
Toon,
Hey there.
Hello.
how's it going?
Good.
Yay.
How about a couple of thoughts on the chat that Mike had with Dave?
All right. So he no flat earther can do math. But man, he thought Austin could.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've watched Austin plenty, and he's never once done math.
He's got 160 IQ, though.
I was going to wonder about that. It was bringing up this whole math thing with Witsit. He just blabbers on.
Yeah,
Cries like a little baby.
Yeah, he's just memorized scripts, but he can't actually do math. So now he promised, right? He gave his word that he was going to show you how to do an eclipse using the Antikythera mechanism or something.
Yes, or something.
So I mean,
What
Dead Greeks.
That
Dead
should
Greeks.
be pressed. Really, it should be.
Yes,
I
think so,
agree.
too.
Yeah.
Now I know Dick said a week, but it would take me more than a week to go through the equations and the compendium and boil them down into a calculation. But I'm gonna do it because
It's actually in spreadsheets.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't want to. I would do that. I would just go download the spreadsheets, but I don't want him to say, "Well, you just downloaded spreadsheets and believe them." I want to go through the calculation.
Let's set it at a month then, because that way with work and everything, you're not pressed for time. Does that work out?
Well, it might. I'm having surgery in a week and a half, but
right. Yeah.
I have a knee replacement.
Oh, I thought it was because your brain was too big. It was unfair. They're going to take a little out to fair it up.
I should point out we couldn't do it next week anyway because we got Austin Witsit booked in next week.
Do we?
Dear Lord.
Well, yeah.
I would be surprised if he accepts that. He was waffling in the chat.
He said it in the chat. He said, "Send me an email. I'll have it."
He said a lot in the chat. God, he wouldn't shut up.
So who is he going to debate next week?
It would
I'll
be
do it.
Mike. Yeah.
I'll do it because
Right.
because he brought up Witsit when I started to talk about the sextant. And I have an old Davis Mark 25. I've used it a couple times and I've studied how it works. And I've actually went and derived the dip tables, the dip angles, where those numbers come from. So I have that all, and it's all written out by hand. I have to scan. I like to do calculations by hand. So I'm going to scan that, and I'm hoping he's going to do that. And I'm hoping he's going to bring up. What did he bring up a couple of times? What was it? Flat Earth refraction. I want him to bring that up so badly.
Is that different to normal refraction?
I guess.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you're the way that refraction is typically calculated on a globe is as a modification of the effective radius,
Right.
which you could not do on flat Earth. You'd have to do it a different way.
Right.
And you apply Snell's law, and it's a differential equations.
Right.
And you run through that, and it would work. You could do it.
But they would have to have a
has.
basis for. See, because
do it based on distance instead of radius, and
Right,
then see
we're
what kind
talking
of
about-
crazy
but-
crap
but-
comes out of it.
Yeah, we're talking about thermoclines, thermal and density variances through the atmosphere. So they would have to be able to, and really, we boil that down to a fraction, usually greater than one of radius. But it's really, going through, like you said, the differential equations, boiling them down to what that, how much it causes, things to dip, and then we make it out as like 7/6 or whatever it is, of radius.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know how you would do that.
The amount of the 7/6 is
Yeah.
when you don't have a measurement, and you are, and this is very important, when you are in certain conditions, when you're away
Right.
from the water, when it's overcast, when it's in 7/6R is not useful at all when
Yeah.
it's over water, or when it's in the afternoon on a sunny day. It's completely out. There's no standard for that. You'd have to actually have measurements. But if lacking that, you wind up with a large range of a coefficient of refraction, so between 0.5 and 0.99.
Yeah, and on the dip calculations I did, I did a separate calculation for that, and it wasn't the straight 6/7. I forget which methodology I wound up using. It was like 6 months ago. But the numbers I came up with were, within 1% or 2 of what's his name's original. What's the guy's name now? I can't remember. The original table.
Thomas Young.
No, way back.
The one from the 1700s. And
and
almanac.
Yeah, and then the ones that the tables that create today are the calculations are a lot more elaborate, but they're really not that much different.
Oh, they're the same to 2 digits.
Yeah. It's just that the calculations are a lot more accurate, and computational power is better too. So, but yeah, I replicated that, and and it would. What I don't understand about that though is the years, absolute years, decades. Well, if you go back to Robotham, 1 3/4 centuries, the argument has been the horizon always rises to eye level. I mean, I have a video I made of Oakley, Riley, Gigantor, Jeranism, all saying this and all describing how it works, and then claiming the sextant it only works on a flat Earth when the dip correction is literally the horizon is below your eye level. How do you freaking resolve those two conflicts? Which is it?
When they're pressed on it, they claim that it's an unmeasurable thing. That it's just, it looks like it's at eye level. My eye goes to that level. That's not actually what Robotham was claiming. Robotham was claiming appropriately,
yes,
that the actual angular dip from a horizontal, right, 90 degrees from zenith,
right,
there would be a very tiny dip,
right. And it would be consistent as you increase in altitude, because of a flat plane just keeps extending out. It would remain constant. It's actually
it would change, but very little.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to.
And it requires knowing how far you are to the edge, so the direction you're facing changes. If you're on the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean facing north, you've got to go all the way across the North Pole. If you're facing south, you just have a straight shot.
Yeah, I think the change though is only calculational. I don't know if you can measure it. You may be able to measure it. I don't know.
It's too small to measure, actually.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's
because of refraction, you're going to get lost in the noise.
Right.
for flat Earth.
Right. And that's the thing too, because as you said, it is an appropriate argument. If the Earth is flat, then this has to happen. And if that has to happen, then you can have a dip angle.
Let's see. Oh, I have a page on my website for that. Can I post it in the chat? Let me see.
Well, that whole discussion could be called a dip correction.
It could be. So I actually
a derp correction.
On that page, I derive the formula and then apply it to a specific location.
Cool.
What location did I do?
I was just thinking about going off and doing that, and now you beat me to it.
Yep. It's just arctangent of the height over to the distance.
Yeah.
So
with my HP 48 calculator.
Oh, talk sexy.
Uh-huh. That's the best calculator known to man. Just saying.
Man. I mean, it was peak calculator. They stopped all calculator. Anyway, I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry at home. If you haven't experienced it, we should stop. They don't know what you're talking about.
Is your calculator? Can you write boobless and turn it upside down? And you know,
I can even do it right side up. It's got letters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fun.
I know.
It's an equation that will graph it on the screen for you. So you know.
In fast Fourier transforms.
There you go. Yeah.
So I calculated for 46 degrees north latitude.
Okay.
Looking across the North Pole. So this is
so you're a long way to the quote.
Yeah,
ice
it's a
wall,
long
unquote.
way. It's 0.04 degrees is the dip.
Yeah, but could you see the DW IMF, the Dome and Ice Wall Maintenance Facility, doing that?
I don't know.
12C is good. I just want to answer Harry Ward. 12C is good, but the HP 48 GX is the bomb. It's the best calculator ever made.
It is. I had the SX, and two cards. I had a memory card and a circuit calculating card.
Yeah.
And then I kept it in the garage, and it got something set on it, and it broke. The button stopped working, so I had to buy myself a new one. I got just an S.
Yeah.
So the upgrade is faster, but it doesn't have the slots.
Yeah, I have a G, I have a GX, I have a 65. I had a 42 that I did leave in the 42 CV, as a matter of fact.
Get me going. I have to open a tab for this.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you get HP calculator
tab.
aficionados together and they'll own the conversation. So
what is this? This is like our OnlyFans for mathematicians.
It is. We should respect them, otherwise we'll get demonetized and stuff.
Calculator porn.
It sounds like we got some high IQ tab usage going on too. So
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, reverse Polish notation. That's the way to go, baby.
There's something about the debate. There's something about the debate today that I want to point out. So he claims he has a sextant and has been messing with it and can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a weekend to get accurate results with a sextant from scratch. Just picking up a sextant and doing a meridian reading, you can get accurate to within a couple miles. But he's had one how long and still hasn't figured out how to use it?
No, wait. Hands up, everybody who actually doesn't think he has a sextant.
I'm one. I'm one. I would raise my hand right now. The man does not own it.
He doesn't even have a picture of a sextant.
So if you go on eBay, there are these sextants for sale that are decorative sextants.
Yeah, don't get one of those.
You could make it work by fixing things on it, but they're actually not.
Yeah.
The one that I used to get within a couple miles of my location was the $20 sextant from all that cheap junk hardware store chain that I went in and collimated and calibrated and everything. And that's what I used.
Yeah, I picked up a Davis Mark 25 on eBay for I forget, it was like $70. It was cheap. But the problem was the box it came in had that original foam in it because this was like a 2013 5-year-old sextant.
Oh,
And it just disintegrated and coated everything. It was like this mushy crap inside the box. But the manual is only, it's a pamphlet basically. And Loki Fish is right. If you go follow step by step in the pamphlet, you can be, determining your location in a couple of hours, and in a day or two, you can get really accurate results.
cool.
I did it once when I was in the Navy. Don't laugh, but yes, on a submarine, we had a couple of sextants because every ship is required to have one. Although the Navy quit.
You'd use it.
Yeah. Well, the Navy actually quit teaching sextants in the late 80s, early 90s, and they started to get rid of them. And recently, within the last 6 or 8 years, they went back to teaching it in the academy and to officers that go to school or Navy ROTC, that kind of stuff. Because if there is some interference with the GPS system, then you could still navigate. Because the Navy used to use what's called a satellite system that was military only. It was called Transit. And it was put up by the Navy and the Air Force in the 70s. And it was a huge constellation through the 80s. But by 96, it was the global positioning system, the GPS system, was there. They were brand new satellites. They were very accurate, and the Navy and actually all the military retired the transit system, and they now use GPS. Problem with that is it's an open system, so it's vulnerable to interference and interruption in a war scenario. So they went back to teaching the sextant for celestial navigation.
It's weird you say that. My nephew's in the Naval Academy right now, and he's just now getting to learning how to use sextants. And
Cool.
He knew about all the crap I watched and told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in the Navy, it was a cross training thing we did. I was on a ballistic missile submarine, so there's a blue crew and a gold crew. We train off basically every 3 months, so the boat spends its maximum time at sea every year, and you don't have to have one crew dying at sea for 10 months. So, because boomers, they submerge to a given cube of ocean, and they tool around in it in case they need to launch missiles. And so they're supposed to maximize their time at sea. We don't surface. So in off crew, you need things to do. So we do a lot of training, and we do a lot of these little cross training things. We went out one day, and the navigator took us out to teach us how to use sextants. And I was horrible at it. I mean, after we went through everything, I think it was like 10 nautical miles off. I had like the worst, but it turned out that that's not really that bad for your first time, I suppose. But
yeah, in an emergency situation, 10 miles is acceptable.
Probably. Matt, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just one from Tiny Captain to you, Mike. He says merchant sailing still teaches it, but a sextant is not mandatory to have on board anymore. That's
it's not. Yeah.
Apparently,
yeah, we had 2 of them. Navy Mark 4s or Mark 3. I don't even remember what they were. They were heavy though. They had their own feet, so when you laid them down on their side, they stood up on their own, so that you didn't lay them down on any instrumentation that would cause it to be out of calibration. And they had calibration stickers. I had to go to calibration every quarter.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing was massive. It was kind of heavy. So if you're sitting there for like 2 hours trying to figure out how to use this thing, it gets pretty heavy after a while.
I bet. So I wanted to turn over to our Dave here and see if there's anything specific from the conversation he wanted to get a few things addressed. And then I know DK had something he wants to bring up too, and we're all set for that as well. Yeah. Dave. Okay. Dave's here. Yeah.
Yeah. I was always just thinking to myself, I don't really think I've got anything to add. Just the general impression is that it all goes over our heads sometimes when there's too much in terms of technical words. And as long as we remember that if we're trying to address the audience with our arguments sometimes rather than the person in front of us, because to be honest, I don't know if it's the same. It might just be me, but all of the technical terms just go straight over my head. And I try and pick apart, reasoning how people came to their conclusions.
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
said,
It's not just you, Dave.
you know, whether people are. Yeah, it's whether people are basing what they say on logic, reason, evidence, something that's testable, or it's personal experience, whether it's more subjective, something slightly less reliable. So, yeah, I'm glad to know it's not just me.
Well, DK, do you want to take us through then?
Well, I can do if you want. Mr. Cleverclogs was talking about sunsets and his fantastic footage he got of his sun fading out.
Footage that he couldn't explain.
Yeah, now I can explain it. If you
Cool.
could bring it up at about the 2 minutes 45 mark. Well, we can see when Dick has his buttons pressed.
Yeah, hold on here.
That's right.
You want this video, right?
Always, please. This was the video he was showing with the sun fading, and if you go to around about 2 minutes 45, you'll see he's got like a nice view of it. It's like a close-up view.
Here we go. So,
Can I interrupt just 1 second?
yeah.
Modern Toad had a I used to have a 42. I think it was a CV or a CX, but I'm really a fan of the 48s, the S and the Gs. The 49 was okay. It kind of sucked. The 50, I have one of those too. That was just destroyed. The 48, it was completely unusable. And I have the Prime, but I don't know anybody who has the 42 these days. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go back.
No worries. Okay, DK, here. I'm going to bring it in so it's all ready for a little,
Now we've done the calculator porn. If you take a close inspection of this video, you will notice that the whole thing is completely out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's a typical flat earther, can't focus a camera. Now, and obviously this sun is setting and it's dropping down and it's going to dim out.
It says it stops setting.
Of course, we are seeing a glare here, and what's happening as the video plays on from here, what's happening is the glare is disappearing, and what's replacing it is a lens effect called bokeh, because it's so out of focus. You have this ring of light that will stay the same size, but it will fade out as the light disappears. So as this glared out sun disappears, it gets replaced by the bokeh, which also fades out because the sun has gone behind the horizon. So
there you go.
If you play that, you can see it.
DK, do we need audio from this?
No.
Okay. And do I want to play at regular speed, slow down, or
just play at regular speed. You'll just see it. I might shout pause.
Okay.
We were talking about something like this with Mike. I mean, you need a solar filter, and this wouldn't happen, right?
Well, I don't know. Okay, pause it.
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah.
You'll see that that circle is a lens effect called bokeh, and it's fading out because the light has gone. If there's another video I've sent you, Dick, that shows you some examples of bokeh.
Yeah, do you want me to go to that video now?
Might as well.
Okay.
I had to look that up when you brought it up. It's interesting.
Bokeh. I can remember that word.
Bokeh.
Oh, okay. K. All right.
And you can use bokeh to determine optical flaws in a lens by how it represents.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I sent the wrong video.
That's quite nice.
You can also,
I like that one.
you can also count the
More,
number of pieces to the aperture.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That I know about.
All right, so never mind. You can look at your own versions of bokeh. Yeah. Demon All was talking about bokeh UFO. There was that example of UFOs, which is basically an out of focus triangle, because it was a night vision camera that has three planes to its iris, so it made a triangular shape. And all it was is just an out of focus aeroplane. Now, what was interesting is while before he started bringing this up, he had this wonderful picture of a sunset behind him.
Yes,
It's up.
That this is the mountain one.
Yeah, which isn't out of focus, hasn't got bokeh, and is setting.
Yes.
Why? Why did he go from that to an out of focus one and say, "Well, look, it's fading out"? Well, that one's not fading out, is it?
No, it's not.
The thing
And
they
then that
don't
one
realize-
is that discussion too kind of annoying because he said, well, you're going to use atmospheric refraction. I said, well, of course I am. Are you saying it doesn't exist? Well, it does exist. So then how are you not accounting for it? He just wants to do like most flat earthers want to do and use the geometric drop numbers and say that that's
Yeah.
and say that that's what you get. It's like, well, no, I mean, there's an atmosphere, it refracts. And I pressed him on it, and he kept, and then he said, so then if I prove to you that it should be hidden, you're going to bring in refraction. Well, yeah, because by the way, it's a thing.
But every time you say frack, they just think to themselves in their head, "Oh, the Cylon was hot," and then they're like, "What? What are you saying?"
Yeah.
You mean the imaginary Cylon?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter whichever one they pick because I mean the joke still stands, right?
Well, I mean, everything's fucking imaginary with them. So what? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so can I say? Can I say
the
this
other
here?
thing is oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Toon.
Yeah, the sun for them, for their claims, the sun has to fade into a point well above the horizon every single time, not once, not twice. Every single day, it can never cross the horizon, ever, according to their claims. And so finding a single example of it is one single example out of the 7 billion examples every day that people see of the sun crossing the horizon. It doesn't actually help their position.
Well, that was the point, Toon, because he was showing this video of the sun fading out that only he has, it seems to have captured. But no one else has seen that anywhere in real life. So, why can he use that as evidence when it's just not what we see?
Yeah.
Without being able to explain what it is and why it works. Unable
It's foreshadowing
to
into
quantify
the
or-
vanishing zone.
Yeah, the vanishing zone. All right, well, bingo. So,
Yeah. But one picture of Bigfoot does not proof of existence make. Come on.
yeah, that's
So it's actually worse than that. It's the opposite. It has to happen every single day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It's like saying Bigfoot is the teller at my bank. You need to go in there every single day and see Bigfoot as the teller in the bank.
yeah, and my neighbor is Bigfoot.
Yeah, you can't have a time where Bigfoot's not there.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be on vacation.
Could have a day off.
She sure is polite, but she really needs a shave.
Well, the other thing was the kept talking about those personal domes of stupidity. The problem with all of his claims about the sun and the setting and perspective and all this stuff, in order to be able to, and I'm so pissed at myself that I didn't get back to this point. In order to be able to make any of those claims, you need a working map of the flat Earth. You need to be able to point to point A on the map, and this person's personal dome will be shaped like this, and it's here, and this person in point B would be there, but they don't have that. And that's always been my biggest bone of contention with the flat Earth. I mean, it should simply be the straight line distance between any 2 points. It's a fucking floor plan. If the Earth were flat, we'd already have it. That is the biggest piece of evidence that shows the Earth cannot be flat because they cannot map it. And then he said, well, a globe doesn't work either. It's a bullshit. A globe works. You can measure the distance between any 2 points on a globe, and it will match observed reality within the accuracy of your ability to measure.
Yeah.
On a curved surface.
It was quite funny when he said, well, you don't have a globe map. We do. It's called a globe.
That's the right answer. I mean,
Or you can use Google Earth, which all the flat earthers love to use as well.
I mean, part of the problem is they don't apply their own requirements
To their shit.
to their own argument. Yeah, you know, they'll go, well, it's not exact. Your answer's not exact. Well, dude, your flat Earth argument's lucky to even get in the freaking neighborhood.
Yeah.
So why don't you come back, you know, when you can calculate to, you know, 6 or 7 digits out and have it be accurate? I mean, they can't even get the sun right.
Right. And that's the point I tried to make too, is that we can literally calculate and predict every single real world observation, and it'll be accurate and it'll be correct. And we can do it for tomorrow, and we can do it decades or even centuries out. They can't predict even one. I mean, they have this whole, you know, we've got density, buoyancy, we've got crepuscular rays, electrofluorspectivism. They got all this stuff. None of it produces anything and can predict anything.
The only thing it predicts is stupidity.
Yes.
It's so
every
bad.
time.
Like if the sun is local but still that far above us, how could we ever have nighttime? Do photons just decide for themselves how far they're going to travel and no further? Like, what's going on up there?
The big thing about the sun is in the clouds. Look, it's in the clouds. What do you mean it's in the fucking clouds? We fly above the clouds. We fly through the clouds. We could fly up to the damn thing and touch it if it were in the clouds. Oh, and by the way, if it's as big as you people say it is, then if it's in the clouds, it's digging this miles wide molten trench into the surface of the earth. What the fuck are you people talking about?
Yeah. If
it would have to be going 1,000 miles an hour. Where's the sonic booms? How can you take a video of it not moving 1,000 miles an hour through the clouds if it's in the clouds?
Right. At that height, you would see it would be zooming and boiling off all the clouds, but that's another story altogether.
Yeah. Wiping out the atmosphere as it goes. But hey, who needs that, right?
See, what are you talking about? We all know that the sun is just a drone put up by NASA.
Yeah. Yeah, and he said that we don't know what the sun is. It's like, well, how did you
It's
make
a hologram.
claims?
Arwen told me so.
Arwen told you so.
No,
Because we've had holograms for, I don't know, 100,000 years now.
Oh, yeah.
When Dearth says we don't know, and then whatever, the answer is, I know you don't know.
Yes, yeah.
Or I agree, you don't know, but other people do.
Yeah,
that's right.
Isn't there even some discussion amongst flurfs that whether the sun is actually even hot? Have you heard that? I've heard that quite a few times because it's inside the dome, therefore it can't be hot because then that
But sunlight, heat.
Suntan.
I mean, just
cold plasma.
You're preaching the converted here. Yeah, the cold plasma. I've heard that one too. Yeah.
Well, there's that crazy dude. His name escapes me. Who measured the temperature of the sun using that thermometer.
Oh, Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
Angry Mike.
So what
Mike.
causes you to be able to cook an egg on a sidewalk? Where's that heat come from?
The underfloor heating. The Romans went in. Yeah.
God steps in and warms it up for you because you need your egg cooked.
That's a 3-word statement that got me banned in Arwen's. Holograms aren't hot.
Wow.
Well, it depends who they are.
Fair point.
Jessica Rabbit, right? Yeah.
Talking of God, can we do another re-edition of the Bible where it says, "And God created the globe, and He spinneth it, and all the dinosaurs were happy, yay!" and then we can point to the Bible and say, "Look, it's in the Bible."
I'll get a crayon.
Well, there is, and I lost it. I had a link to it. You can't read it. You know how you can go to Bible websites and pick a different version. This one isn't on any of those websites. But basically, it's the flat Earth version of the Bible, and it's been manipulated and rewrote as a new translation, and it mentions the Earth being flat and stationary, and the firmament is a physical dome, and all this other stuff. I have to find it again because if they can do that, well, why the hell can't we? That's your interpretation.
Yes, the Bible according to Stephen Hawking.
What is it? The Book of Mormon, the Book of Bob?
Yeah.
Book of Mormon.
Well, not Bob Nodell. Thanks, Bob.
No, it could be Bob and Doug McKenzie. It can, it could have a Canadian flair to it, eh?
Oh, hoser,
And God created beer, eh?
Yeah, there
Let's
needs
put
to
my
be a
thinking
no,
toque on.
Nodell prize.
Yeah, Bob Nodell Prize. Ah, jeez. And I couldn't believe the amount of straw manning he did too. I mean, that was just blatant. The centrifugal force thing. Well, you said this, so therefore it's that. No, that's not at all what I said, and you just are assuming a big ass number and can't back it up. I mean, he did that a lot, where he said, "Well, you said this, and therefore that."
Well,
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Interestingly enough, though, Witsit in the chat was constantly saying that you were straw manning David and ad homing him.
Yeah,
it's
none of that.
Not once. Not once.
I don't think not once. No.
Yeah, is Witsit in the chat now? I don't know if he is or not. But if he is, someone get to him and tell him to take the clips out of the video where I strawmanned Dave. I want to see that.
I think he was claiming that people in the chat were strawmanning himself.
Oh,
or sorry, ad homing himself.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You can ad hom him all you want. That's fine.
yeah. He deserves all the ad homing you can give him.
Well, let's be clear. He deserves the insults.
He was crying like a little girl.
He doesn't know the difference.
Speaking of insults, there's a guy in the chat here, Chuck Murphy, who says, "Has anyone taken the actual temperature of the sun? Twats." And does anybody know the name of the probe that's going around the sun right now, getting all that amazing information? Because I'm sure we've got a pretty accurate temperature by now, don't we?
The Parker Soda probe.
That's it. Yeah,
that's it.
Otherwise known as Melty McMeltface.
Yeah.
It's from the UK, is it?
Also known as.
So, Fallacy Dave, you could weigh in on this one. Isn't that called like the McNamara or the Skittle fallacy? Just because it's not something you can directly measure does not mean that the number is invalid. It's, I don't remember exactly.
I haven't heard that one,
goes.
or at least I haven't heard the terminology. It might be under a different name.
Yeah, I use the one website, so I don't know.
I'll look that up.
It was an entertaining chat, though. I was just muted most of the time, giggling my head off.
I thought you were going to fall out of your chair. Yeah. Here it is, the McNamara fallacy. It's based on McNamara was in I forget which cabinet, which presidential cabinet, but basically it's a decision based solely on a quantitative observations, and all qualitative factors are ignored. So it's not the one I thought it was, because there is a fallacy that that at least there should be, that just because you haven't done the measurement, or that you can't you can't walk up to the sun and stick a thermometer in it, that doesn't mean you can't tell what the temperature of the sun is. And as far as flat earthers are concerned, that if you can't stick a temperature in the sun, you can't know the thermometer in the sun. You can't.
Fallacy Dave.
So there's it goes more to that to show their hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Because if they're like, it's the tape measure that they always, well, how did you measure? Did you bring a tape measure to it? Well, okay, you showed me the black swan. Did you tape measure the distance to the oil rig there? How did you get the distance to the oil rig without that tape measure that you require for distances?
Yep.
Well, there was a similar thing that I always wanted to go and meet one of these flat earthers out on the street in London, and I would say, "What, have you got a coin on you? Take the coin out." And who's on the back of that coin? And they'll go, "Oh, it's the Queen." How do you know? Have you met her? It's,
the same argument. Yeah.
Wait, it's the same argument. It's nonsensical, but it's the same argument.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing, and it went right over Wabinga's head. And that I used that, I claimed that what makes objects fall is telekinetic sea slugs. They're tasked with making sure everything falls at 9.8 meters per second squared. And then I took my little foam submarine and I dropped it. Said, "See,
I've just proven that telekinetic sea slugs cause things to fall. And it went right over his head. I mean, but it's the same claim.
There was a moment, I don't know if anybody noticed because my video was kind of small, but he said your supposed gravity, and I held my lighter up and dropped it and caught it.
I did see that. I did see that. I started to I had to mute for a second because I was chuckling on that one.
I couldn't help myself.
It's like, and that's the other thing too is anytime I wanted to say something, well, you're presupposing the globe, and you're presupposing the Earth is flat. So what?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the Earth is flat and it's not a globe. No, you don't know shit.
Well, if that's all you have to do to make it okay, then you can just repeat the same phrase, swapping in globe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I tried to impress upon him the fact that if you're going to debunk the globe, then you have to debunk the globe. The globe has gravity. You can't ignore it. But I don't believe in gravity. Well, it doesn't believe in you either. Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, it still works when you jump, dummy.
Yeah.
Well, he likes to say the things that work in their echo chambers, right?
Exactly.
They say gravity's never been measured. He said that. Well, it has been. So what about all the measurements of gravity that have happened? You have to falsify them. You have to show the problem with the methodologies.
Right.
Yeah. And the other one is, of course, gravity is just a theory. No, the theory of gravity is the theory.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Well,
That's gravity is not.
Let's see if David agrees with this one, because I love to pull that one out and say that that's a double fallacy. That's a cherry picking fallacy because you cherry pick the word theory out of the scientific term, scientific theory, and then you apply a appeal to definition logical fallacy in that you use a generic definition of the word theory and apply it to the term scientific theory and call it a day. That's what I call that one, a double fallacy.
It's tricky to. Just go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a super chat shout out here. RT96 came in with a $5 super chat. Standard flurf demand. Prove how X works on the globe model. You may not use the globe model in your answer.
That is exactly what Dave was doing today. It's exactly it. Prove your globe model. No, you can't presuppose a globe. What, are you fucking drunk? Maybe you should be.
Oh, that's funny. Good shout, RT. Good one. That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Thanks for the $5, dude. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And that is literally his entire argument. I mean, it's what he kept trying to push, as if he was going to, I don't know, intimidate me off of it or something. I don't know. I don't know if,
sorry, I don't know if the term equivocation describes it better.
You think? Okay.
It's one of those. It's at the end of the day, it's just the fact that we are thinking about our reasoning and our premises and why we believe it. That's so much more important.
I do. I like that one better.
Getting the word right.
And you've heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Linda Bertelson says you can't intimidate Mike. She should know.
Damn right. Yeah.
Well,
I bet she could.
Yeah, I bet she can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She would be the one, though.
I heard that giggle in the background.
Yes.
That's funny. Speaking of the devil.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, what's funny with them is their whole, well, you can't use, globe model this, globe model that. You can't use gravity or anything like that. Comparative analysis of theory requires that you presuppose both models and apply it to the data and see how the data applies to both models.
Yeah.
And
Here, what we could do is we could give an audio representation of them doing that.
I
mean, whenever they come out with, go ahead.
It said 9 o'clock hero says, I'll bet Mike can be stunned by stupid. Sometimes I am. Every once in a while I'll come across some stupid shit that some flat earther said, and I'm awestruck by how mind-bogglingly stupid it is.
Yeah, sometimes you just got no answer to the most derpy of derps. I mean, you just, yeah, okay, dude, yeah, all right. Don't walk away.
Yeah, there was one flat earther who was talking about we were arguing gravity, of course, and he said, and you think things accelerate the same in a vacuum chamber when things actually weigh a negative amount? And I had no fucking idea where to go with that. Oh yeah, he's trying to claim that acceleration, and I don't even know what he's trying to claim acceleration, but he did claim that the closer you get to a perfect vacuum, weight actually goes to a negative number. I was like, what? Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not talking anymore. my brain is broke.
Was that from a formula that Einstein wrote out when he was drunk one night? And he's like, yeah, oh fuck, got those numbers wrong.
Yeah. What the hell was in my pipe that night?
And as Harry says in the chat, that's not even wrong territory.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, every once in a while there is something that just leaves me flabbergasted. I'm like, I have no earthly idea what to do with.
I just default to, you're not serious. I mean, I have a hard time believing any of them are serious anymore. You can tell the ones that are, but I don't think Weiss is.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it hard to understand too, because it's almost like they've got to a point where they've persuaded themselves.
Well, that's what pathological liars do. They've convinced themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. They also become serial killers, don't they?
Well, they tell a lie so often they actually believe their own lies, and that actually is a psychological thing. It does happen. And my bitch and ex-wife for one. Did I just say that out loud? Damn, sorry.
Did I just say that out loud? Yeah, you say the same lie over and over. Sooner or later, you start to believe it yourself. So yeah, I guess.
But the thing about lying, especially with flat Earth, is you have to cover the lie with another lie. Like the simple fact is, we know the Earth's not flat because we've thrown stuff up into space and we've seen the shape of it, and it's not flat; it's round. Oh, that's right. That's all fake as well. Yes, it's all made up. It's models, and so they're having to cover one lie with another lie. And flat Earth is just a pyramid of lies from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Plus they have to completely ignore direct contradictions of their previous statement.
Yeah.
Perspective everything. So why doesn't the sun shrink between noon and 3 p.m.?
Yeah. And Linda says that Weiss is following a script. He's a Poe, in my opinion, and he may be. I mean, there are plenty of them out there.
He's making a lot of money off it.
He is. And what I find interesting is, he in discussions and debates, he refuses to discuss a flat Earth map. He just doesn't seem to want to go there. Yet he has one in his app. What the fuck is it? Is that the flat Earth or not? Because if it's not, then your app is bullshit, which it is. But that's beside the point.
Put the real map on there instead.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we don't need a map. We do. You could have said that 300 years ago when there was no such thing as, commonplace long distance navigation, but people can fly anywhere in the world in 24 hours today.
Yeah.
That somebody is clearly using a map.
Hey, Toon, has Weiss ever been on your show? I'm pretty sure I've seen everything you've ever done, but I can't remember.
He has said when he was on Jaron's show that he won't debate me.
Huh. You're so scary.
I know.
Well, you were trying to goad them into getting on their show the other night. Last night.
Mark Sargent, you mean?
Yeah, Mark Sargent show.
I called his call-in show. I was not actually trying to debate there, not at all. I
just say hello.
No, I had two things. I had something for Karen. I wanted to ask her if she would try her, because I reviewed one of her videos on my recent flat Earth sunset thing, I was going to ask her if she would retry her experiment with the correct part of the lens, because she used the bottom half instead of the top half. And I was going to ask Mark if he wanted to go on a flight with me in the Southern Hemisphere.
I got to run.
Well, like a date.
But,
All right.
have a wonderful night, guys.
All right.
Good night, Dave. Thanks.
All right, Dave. All right, take it easy.
No.
Hi, Dave.
Well,
go ahead.
not a date so much, but yeah, a challenge, you know. And the challenge is we both put $10,000 up, give it to lawyers, right? And they can hold it. I have a lawyer. They have a lawyer.
As if he has $10,000.
Well, I mean, he. The reason why I chose him, and there's 4 others, is because they have large enough channels that they could do a GoFundMe and they could get that money
In a day.
Easy. And the followers would be, yes, you're going to prove a Glober wrong in person. Absolutely, they're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
It'd be easy for them to fund that money, right? But all right, so we both put $10,000 in, and then on our own nickel, so you'd have to raise more. Fly down to, we choose a flight, one of the about 5 different Southern Hemisphere direct routes, and we dedicate a week so that we have times in case there's reschedules or cancellations. So say it's from Sydney to Johannesburg, right? We plan a week to be in Sydney and to take that flight, QF63. And if it happens and we don't cross the equator and we don't go more than 1,000 miles an hour ground speed and we don't stop off, then I win and I get all $20,000. And if we cross the equator, or if we stop off for a refueling in Dubai, or it goes, 1,500 miles an hour, then they win and they get $20,000.
Interesting.
So I'm recording that video tonight, hopefully, and then have it out tomorrow on my Conspiracy Tunes channel.
And I got a question about that, but Matt, you've had your hand up for a while.
Yeah, there's just a chat from Stop Faking in the chat. It says, flat earthers argue from personal incredulity, and it's impossible to reason with. But I wanted to aim that at Toon, because he seems to handle that pretty well. So what's your secret? How do you handle that?
Handle what?
Personal incredulity. And he's saying that it's impossible to reason with. But I don't know, just watching your debates and things like that, I mean, you seem to sort of deal with that pretty well. So what do you do to handle it?
Well, it's first my mindset. I'm not trying to convince them. I'm trying to shine a spotlight on them to show that they're not honest, that they don't have any evidence, and sometimes that they're just horrible people, though that's optional.
Like your last one, that guy was out of control.
Oh, yeah, he's a disgusting human being. So that's Jin is his name. But yeah, so personal incredulity, when they do that, that's a win, because that's not evidence for flat earth. That's not evidence against the globe. That's desperation. If the earth was flat, you'd have measurements. You'd have a map. You'd have, you wouldn't talk about the globe. You'd talk about flat earth. You'd say, here's the evidence for it. Here's how the sun actually sets. Here's the numbers. Here's the geometry. But they don't. Whenever you ask them for evidence for flat earth, they will only talk about the globe.
Right.
Well, what do you think about this? I noticed also in the chat that the Wixit was saying that you guys are obsessed with flat earthers.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's like, well, the flat earthers are here talking their shit up, and they're claiming that we are obsessed with them. What do you think about that?
Well, if they would shut the hell up and then just spend time in their spider holes and not try to go to Mount Rushmore and flap your face on every street across the country, maybe you wouldn't find any people standing up against that kind of idiocy. But Witsit, you are the one that is going into everybody else's face and trying to proselytize your religion. So yeah, that's going to be the response, Witsit.
Literally, bro.
Literally.
I I know in real life 2 flat earthers.
Oh,
And
wow.
they never said anything to me until, it was a while, right? And if they were all like that and they just said, oh, well, okay, that's my belief, then there would be nobody saying, oh, let's counter them.
Right.
And I my response to Witsit was, hey, if you all shut up, I'll close down my channel tomorrow.
That's right.
Like, you do. Yeah. We do.
And that is a huge point of hypocrisy too, because anybody who follows like the NASA site, actual science groups on Facebook, like groups on physics and astronomy and mathematics, they are now en masse attacking all those groups and posting like crazy for the sole purpose of trying to get them shut down. It absolutely amazes me that's okay for them to do, but that's not an obsession.
Yeah.
PJ CNET leaps to their defense in the chat. Good God.
What did he say? Read it out.
Reading it out.
Because we don't have the resources to go up to high altitude to find out what's there or to map out the world. So we have to pick against the globe with things like the flawed so-called space footage.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Shit.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Grubby dance.
Yeah. Well, MCToon is going to jump on this one because flat earthers have sent up high altitude balloons. And what do they show, MCToon?
Oh, a curved horizon.
Yay!
And PJ, you are a grown ass man. There are 8th grade and 4th grade students who send those balloons up with everything to be able to track where it goes and cameras. You could do this. You could buy these damn kits on the internet. Don't say you don't have the resources, because that's bullshit. That's an intellectually dishonest cop out.
And not only that. Sorry, Dick. Not only that, there is huge amounts of data. There's satellites that go into space. They're recording all kinds of technical data, and it's all publicly available. Well, not all of it's publicly available. Some of it's publicly available, and you can actually go and check it and look at it and look at the data. And it will show the Earth's globe. But you won't do that because it's hard work. Because you have to be clever and stuff.
I mean, the mainland Britain was mapped out in bloody Norman times.
And let's face it,
it's not difficult.
Mad Mike already went up and showed. Oh, sorry, never mind.
Gravity proven. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, he certainly proved the Earth was flat because he was flat when he was finished.
The one good thing that MCToon brought up is the fact that these prominent flat earthers can crowdsource the money needed to do just about anything. And the perfect example of that is FE Core. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars have they spent on custom culminated lasers and some leveling system they call Salad that failed on its first use? And so did the laser, by the way. They literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on all this stuff.
Wait a minute.
Zero usable
Salad?
data.
Salad as in toss the salad?
As in toss the salad. It's initials. I don't remember what it stands for.
And they still can't prove it's flat.
No, they
Hundreds
can't.
of thousands of dollars later.
They like in 2018 or 2019, they were talking about sending up a high altitude balloon. And as far as I'm concerned, that would be a definitive result. Especially if you controlled what camera was used, you controlled the lens. There's a video that I use for flat earthers all the time. This company that does high altitude stuff for marketing and things. It uses a Panasonic Lumix camera and a Loa ultra wide angle rectilinear lens, and it is amazing. You can see clear constant curvature as the stupid horizon moves up and down in the frame. It does not change its curvature at all. There is nearly zero barrel distortion. If you send up that kind of camera, and that lens isn't that expensive, it's like $400. And a Panasonic Lumix, a decent one, you can get for less than $1,000. And you send this thing up, you will get a definitive result. That's why they don't do it, because it will be a definitive result.
Not only that, you can put a 360 camera on it and see it in full virtual reality.
Yeah.
You'll actually be up there looking down at the Earth. You'll see it.
So flat out liar Terry R. Eicher is talking about doing that.
Yeah, I believe him.
Wow.
So I mean, it's been done, right? Because Dwayne Kellum did it, and then all the Flurfs somehow got less interested in that.
Yes.
Matt, he was on.
Hand up? Sorry, go ahead.
Globebusters was talking about it, and then they're like, "Oh, put a rectilinear lens on." So he did, and then they're like, "Oh, never mind."
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I don't want us to doubt you, Harry Walt, but he says the FE core had a mechanical gyroscope built to disprove rotation, but they covered that up apparently.
Yes,
they did.
That? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Well,
they spent because it's funny. I had to go to the Internet Archive to pull the page because it's gone from their website. But basically, what they said is that every mechanical gyroscope that they tested commercially would be affected by gravity. Is affected by gravity. So it doesn't prove what they wanted to prove. So that's why they had to build their own. It's like, well, why do you think?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit. They literally tested like, I don't know, half a dozen or so different mechanical gyroscopes. And they were like, I don't know, if you get in the same result time after time, and then with a $20,000, fiber optic gyroscope, you would start to think that maybe you're fucking wrong. Oh no. So we'll just build our own shit to make it do what we want it to do. And they did.
Well, even David tonight, he was saying that there's been no measurement of spin. Excuse me, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, has he forgotten about Bob so quickly?
Well, and that's a bad example because it's such a poorly done experiment.
It is, exactly.
I have 14 on my website, though, mctoon.net/spin. Go grab any one of them and send it to him.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but Bob is his guy. He's on their team. So, but the fact he just like waved that away, like that never existed. Like you say, it was a poorly run experiment, but it did exist and it did happen. But David is insisting there's been no measurement of spin, but there was.
Charlie.
Yeah, the word that DK used was team there. And that's been one of my biggest observations in the last month is the ongoing Fleur civil wars. And to anybody coming fresh-eyed into I wonder if there's anything to this, idiots, real idiots. And they see, if they had any critical eye, they would see, okay, these people on the globe side, they all just kind of get along and laugh. While this other side, there's like 15 different teams. It's like a league, the Flat Earth League.
Yeah. And anybody
we should do that.
Disinformation.
We should do a fantasy Flat Earth team.
Point system would be fun as hell to come up with.
Mike, you're up there.
Charlie, it's your job.
The interesting part about the fiber optic gyroscope, I have a huge copy of email exchanges between all the FE core members about the fiber optic gyroscope. And first of all, they couldn't figure out how it worked because they were getting rotations in multiple axes. It's like, well, dude, you're not on the equator or the pole, so yeah, you're gonna get differences. And they had to troll pilot forums to try to figure out what they were doing wrong. They figure, we have to use spherical geometry to figure this out. There's a reason you need to use spherical geometry, and they didn't tell anybody about this. And they spent so much time trying to figure out why they kept getting a 15 per hour degree drift and how they can eliminate it. And they were going to create a bismuth chamber because, even a Faraday cage wasn't working for them. It's funny, the exchanges back and forth, because I didn't understand what the hell they were doing to begin with. And I also have 2 years of Skype transcripts between these people on this subject. I don't remember where I got them from or how I got them, but let's just say they exist.
China.
China hacked them, and it came through WikiLeaks. So, yeah, it is absolutely amazing the damage control discussions they were having about, what the fuck are we going to do with these numbers? We can't have this. One of them said, we can't have this. We need to figure it out.
Yeah, I remember that sentence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you mean you can't have this? It is what it is. You took a measurement. You repeated the measurement over. And not just twice, by the way. They didn't just do this twice. Dozens of times.
We'll get it this time. This time it'll do it this time.
It's like, no, they talk about twice on the documentary, but they did it multiple times more than that. It was amazing. So, these guys, and they're a 501(c) charitable or nonprofit organization. They actually have gotten their nonprofit status. So they have collected tons and tons of money and haven't done anything in a couple of years, if I remember correctly. Talk about being dishonest. I wonder where all that money's going.
Oh yeah, no doubt. There's a topic to for another.
Did it really
time
cost $200,000 for the laser experiment?
All that Kool-Aid ain't cheap.
Yeah. and if you guys want to see about the mechanical gyro and the laser thing, Slicer Kane has a lot of good debunks, and he actually interviewed what's his name, who's the head of FE Corps, about the laser and
Mike
the salad.
Kavanaugh.
Huh? Yeah, Mike Kavanaugh, exactly. He actually interviewed him on a couple of them, and he had these false strikes because they said something about doxing because he just showed like a page from their website where it showed the board members, Mike Kavanaugh and Bob Node, all the names were there with their pictures and descriptions. It was on a publicly accessible website. Yeah. And they tried to have him shut down on doxing and stuff. It was amazing.
I remember this. I totally do. And you could just simply go to the site and the info was right there.
Right. So
there were some interesting exposés on basically fraud from the Flat Earth side, going back a few years, like Mark Sargent and what's the name? Forgotten the name now. Who's disappeared off the target? His ex-girlfriend, the one that he really fancied, but she wasn't interested. The one I'm talking about. But about she had a house in his her company name, Patricia Steer. Yeah, there was some weird shit going back, a few years, financially. Yeah, there was, and who knows, and they are a nonprofit, so they have to file all their numbers. I wonder what, and it has to be publicly accessible. I've been meaning to go look.
She kind of had teeth like a horse. I always wanted to give her an apple.
It's Patricia Steer was that girl, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what Linda keeps saying. Because she's walking around, but her headphones are still connected to her laptop. So
I wonder what their accounts are like, because they're not very good with numbers. Do you think their accounts, if you chart them out, it turns into a shape of a parabola?
I don't know.
They're always adding.
Top line is math isn't reality, and that's it.
They're always adding 8 inches per mile squared in all of their calculations, even where it's not applicable.
Only on expenses, not income.
There it is. Okay, so I just I dropped something in the green room for Dick when he gets around to it. This is a copy of the web page that I got off of FE Corps' website on the Internet Archive. It talks about why they created the mechanical gyroscope, the reason for it.
Oh, okay. Here.
I have highlighted a couple of things on it.
Let me go like this.
Yeah. Have you messed with one of these, Mike?
With one of these mechanical gyros? No, not really. We
there.
we shut one down on my boat once due to rocking and rolling. It was really bad seas, and we were actually taking 60-degree rolls, port and starboard, and our gyro compass just flipped over, and they had to like completely rebuild it at sea. It was bad. It was
60 degrees.
Yeah.
Holy
I can barely
Wow.
picture that.
Yeah, we were constantly doing 35 to 45 for like 6-8 weeks. We had a couple of 60s. The only time in 4.5 years at sea that I saw 60-degree rolls.
Wow.
And
You should download
God,
that.
I'm sure. I bet you had quite a few people being sick on the side.
yeah, well, yeah. Well, you know what's weird is I didn't get seasick, but we had a few people who got like instantly seasick. And the weird part was when they went to bed, they just went right to sleep. But I didn't get seasick. When I went to bed, I just laid there and like, come on, I want to go to sleep because it's just rocking me back and forth. And I couldn't sleep when it was doing that.
Right. That would be me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. When we hit those 60-degree points, we got alarms on a bunch of systems. And
I bet.
yeah, but the boats are very resilient. They just kept on working. So.
Do you want this mechanical info up here?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
No worries.
Yeah, so it's let me see if I can read it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, but the tests were conducted and it concluded that we could not prove the IMU or FOG, fiber optic gyro, was not in fact being influenced by gravity in testing in its orientation. And we cannot verify that giving the results totally independent of gravity and then no test with them can produce a useful data. Well, how do you eliminate gravity? If that's your, see, this is something flat earthers ought to take note of. They're actually considering everything that they need to consider in what they're doing. It didn't work, obviously, but but Rick found that none of the commercially available gyros can be trusted to remain fixed in space for hours at a time. They all show some precession. Well, of course, that's their fucking job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, they're fucking useless if they don't show precession. And they slowly move on their own relative and known movement of the table. Of course, it's known. It's 15 degrees per hour. What the fuck? So he determined to build a better gyro because these fucking numbnuts know more than fucking Sperry himself about gyroscopes, and they can eliminate gravity and show that there's no relative motion.
Now, what they didn't want is a gyro. What they want is a sack of concrete, and they can film that and go, "Look, he hasn't moved."
Yeah,
and they actually posted hours of video of this gyroscope running, and it was powered. You know, because you can't make it run for hours without a motor, and. You know, and Sly Sparkane, he did a lot of debunks of them, and they moved. They all moved. They showed motion in every single one of them. It's much smaller than a gyroscope should, which means there's shenanigans going on. But they all showed motion, and so it wound up being useless. Not according to them. According to them, it proved there's no motion. But no, you're bullshit.
Wow.
And that shows the level of dishonesty. I mean, they get a result with the fiber optic gyroscope, not twice like they said in the movie, but multiple times. Then all the mechanical commercial gyroscopes showed the same thing. Well, isn't there a point where you have to accept that either all gyroscopes don't work and don't do what they're supposed to do for navigation, or you're wrong?
Yeah. Like if you put diesel fuel in a gasoline car 20 times in a row and eventually have to replace the engine, you can't just keep doing it.
No, you can't.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're not fact checking, they're fact correcting. So it will play with their narrative. That's all they're trying to do.
Right. They're trying to create data to fit a conclusion and not the other way around.
It's hilarious.
which wouldn't stand up to any kind of scrutiny whatsoever.
Right.
No, a
Would
crack
be.
dealer comes up with better arguments for the judge. Come on, you know.
Probably.
It's entertaining though. That was a good chat for sure. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Certainly was.
there was a lot of fun to be had in the chat, the live chat. People were having a blast. That was good. I was giggling my ass off. I had a great time. That was good.
Oh yeah, I thought for sure you were gonna fucking explode there a couple times.
Yeah, I've been watching the Shills for a while now, and I've never seen the chat quite so flurfy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to personally thank Witsit for the providing entertainment in the chat this evening.
Yes.
It was a good giggle and a good laugh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Our resident
appreciate it.
clown.
The resident
Yeah.
clown, yeah. Mhm.
You know, I wish there was some way to pull the chat so you could pull the whole thing.
You should be able to get a transcript. Why not?
Yeah, we
I know.
could do that. We could do that. Yep.
Can you?
I'm
Because
sure
I
we
haven't
could.
figured out a way to do it.
Yeah, the
Dude, I'm
transcript.
literally leaving now, bro. You're just liars. I think you said
Just
that
liars.
twice.
Well, that's the other thing. He called me a liar a couple of times. It's like, dude, seriously? I wasn't gonna dignify the comment, but
Why bother? Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, what have I lied about? I have been totally upfront about everything I've said. And by the way, everything I've said is still verifiable and repeatable
Yep.
and documented in, I don't know,
Yeah.
of course, peer reviewed. Who cares about that? Because that's meaningless.
And ironically, everything he says on his streams are lies from beginning to end.
It's that comment as well where you said, peer review is just a process where they get scientists just to agree with it. Come
Yeah.
again? What the?
Yeah,
what?
I
What?
remember that, Matt. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was what the fuck
I
moment.
mean, that
for
is
sure.
so far. That's so
Yeah.
far removed. It's quite common, actually, that is used for a point where scientists get to disagree and
Yeah,
actually
I mean,
discredit their peer thing. That's the whole point of it.
Has he met a scientist? Because they fucking hate each other. They
Yeah,
love to prove
we
each
should-
other wrong.
We should get AB in here because it's actually cutthroat. Scientists want
Yeah.
Fucking right.
nothing more than to disprove the paper that you just put out if it doesn't agree with what they're working
That's-
on.
It's all about street cred.
That's
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
If
that's
they
it. Yeah,
can
yeah, exactly.
if they can ditch on somebody else, they get all their street cred.
Yep.
Interesting poll results we have from 60 votes, 55 to 45. I didn't. Wow.
Wow.
I don't even know what the votes were. What was this? What was the poll?
55 for no, 45 for
Oh.
yes. It was.
Does
white.
Weiss actually think the Earth is flat?
Yeah.
So 55 think no, 55% think no.
Well,
Okay.
Well, he
So
thinks
Loki
he-
Loki
that.
Fish
He can't
says
prove
here
it
that
is.
how about the hours the sun and moon not shrinking like they should? Yeah, and it's funny. That comment right there is funny to me because they're constantly talking about perspective being the reason, part of the reason for sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset. Yet they ignore the angular size part of perspective. I mean, it's cherry picking at its worst there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you can't invoke perspective and then say we're going to ignore angular size. Like when I said to Gary Wabinga about, the Rayleigh criterion, he said, well, does what you claim fit the equation? And he's like, well, no, math doesn't represent reality. I said, dude, the equation actually is the definition of the Rayleigh criterion. What you're quoting is an explanation of the equation. They just don't fucking get it. Look, you fish, your hands are up.
Yeah. This is kind of addressing Kevin Samuel in chat. Well, the funny thing is that unlike flat earthers, I've actually done the experiments and I've actually done the calculations. So if between noon and 3 p.m., if the sun is 100,000 kilometers away, there would be a distance difference of 1.3651, which would result in a difference in angular size of 73.28%. So it would shrink by about 30%.
Yep.
Now let's say you want to make that sun really local, like some of the models of, let's say 1,000 kilometers. Oh, that's still a difference of like 1.3 times. and that's like 2,600 kilometers versus 1,900 kilometers. It still results in a 30% change in size between noon and 3 p.m. Now, Kevin, I don't know if you know anything about me. I have a video on my channel where I have a 6-hour time lapse of the sun at high resolution and a 7-hour time lapse of the moon, and did the calculations, and the changes in angular size are consistent with them being where NASA and all of science says it is. And that,
I wonder why that is.
yeah, and that even a small fractional difference, let's say the moon was 10% closer, within the confines of the equipment I was using, I would have been able to detect a 10% difference in distance based off of angular size alone. So
that's just your calculations. What do you know?
Oh yeah.
That last comment he's just made is probably the stupidest one yet. Have a look. Got out there now.
Well, read it out.
Okay,
poor Kevin.
Okay, just check
How does
the
somebody
video.
live without a brain? Kevin.
Just check the video. You're conflating things getting into distance at ground with things getting into distance in the sky.
Distance
But
is distance.
How's that
Yeah.
different?
What?
Why is there
So
a
a
different
foot
rule?
is not a foot if it's pointing up at
So-
the sky?
the more I lift my head, the smaller the thing
miles.
gets when it goes away. But on the ground, no, it's the other way. No, that's not perspective.
That's why Banga shit.
That's dumb.
Yes,
Doesn't really work.
it's
does it?
sky miles.
Sky miles, or space weight.
Now, a lot
All right.
of you've
Well,
been
Kevin-
talking all sciencey stuff. Now, I'd
Kevin,
like to bring.
I
like
just
to
want to
bring
say,
something
Kevin,
up.
good luck next life. You might get a brain that one.
There you go.
What kind of a brain does a maggot have anyway? Anyway, I just want to bring something a little less sciencey, because I mean you're all talking science, and it kind of like you're talking about flat earthers. It really doesn't matter because you're wasting your time. Because Harry Warp says in the chat, Witsit can get a taste of peer review process by doing a thesis. Well, now Witsit could get a bit of a taste of peer review if he didn't block people off his channel. So I mean, why is that? Why is it that flat earthers seem to find it necessary to block and hide any kind of what would you just nicely say peer review from people in the chat or in comments? Why do they feel it necessary to block people, but people on the globe side don't feel the need to do that?
No, we don't do it.
On Facebook, I have not blocked a single flat earther, no matter how fucking disgusting they get in their comments, because no,
but they'll happily block you or get
yes,
you
absolutely. I get
in
blocked
jail.
at least once a week now.
Yeah.
I got one guy who
that's
DM'd
why
me to
I
tell me
don't
that
even
he
do
was
it
blocking
anymore.
me.
Yeah.
PJ, you get blocked for. Never mind.
Yeah. Let's not start. Should we do like a round table and let everybody say a few blurbs and whatnot, and then get ourselves wrapped up here?
No, we finished already.
Well, we can go longer. I wasn't sure. If you got, if everybody's got more, I mean, there's no harm in going.
Well, it's up to you, mate.
It's just that I noticed we were kind of slowing down a little bit. So that's I don't mind. I don't mind either.
Yeah, it's a group. Yeah, group thing. So yeah, okay, we're not done yet. All right, that's cool.
They just piss me off. That's all.
The slow but steady rise in aggression throughout your conversation with him, Mike. By the end, he was just ready to explode.
Yeah, he was. I think that's why he wanted to bow out and pass it on to. I don't know. Did he think that was going to intimidate me or something?
Oh,
how about Witsit? You want to bring Witsit in?
Yeah, the tag team. Oh, right. That was such a get out, because I was
getting ready to say, bring him in and I'll take you both on, because it really doesn't matter. The arguments are identical.
Yeah.
I mean, Witsit, he thinks faster than Dave does. I know that. He talks faster. He's got specific scripts memorized, which allows him to be faster. But, that's
all shit. He was never going to bring numbers.
No. I know
Dave
Dave
thought
said
he
he's
was.
got math. Yeah, but he's got the math.
He's got
No,
no
he
math.
doesn't. He doesn't.
No, he meant meth.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, he was just going to bring some meth.
Yeah, if he had math, then he'd have a model. I mean, that's all there is to it. If you have the math, then you have a model. How about giving us some real predictions?
Instead, he's got meth in a bottle.
Yeah, he's got some fancy crack pipes. Come on.
Well, he definitely didn't make the meth because I mean that's a chemistry thing, isn't it? So you know he's not going to do that because that's science.
Yeah, the atoms don't
Do that.
exist. So.
Yeah, exactly. Atoms don't exist. Can't do that.
There it is.
See, I got blocked off of Witsit's channel last night because I brought up the fact that Jesus spoke of being aware of false prophets, and I said I didn't think they were talking about flat earthers specifically, and then I was blocked. Boom.
Yeah.
And I think from the standpoint of people like Witsit, where they do drag it back to the Bible and religion and shit like that. I mean, MCToon. I mean, I'm not going to say you are you're the high priest, but you are a religious person or of religion, should I say?
Sure.
And I mean, is this what Jesus was talking about? The false prophets? Because I mean, let's face it. Because if they are the false prophets, they are the ones that are deceiving. They are the one in league with the Satan and the devil and all that kind of shit that goes along with it. You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, that's certainly going with the presumption that the Earth is a globe. The one with facts. Then yes, that they're coming, claiming to be Christians and presenting a false story. They're lying about stuff, and well, who's the father of lies? That's who they're following then.
Yeah, Mike, you would agree there, I'm sure. Same thing for yourself, right?
Right. Yes. And the other things too is that one of the very first largest hallmarks of a cult is telling you that everyone, literally everybody on the planet, is lying to you except us.
Well, that's what Satan would do.
Yeah. And so not only are they, excuse me, not only are they, religious zealots, it's a fucking cult. It's simple as that.
I just think this whole false prophet thing is fascinating when you point it at them. They fucking hate it.
Well, I'm a Christian, and I have a hard time when someone tells me that I'm interpreting the Bible wrong because it clearly says the earth is flat, stationary, and it's clear said now. I'm like, you realize that of the 3.8 billion followers of the Abrahamic religions out there, not one organized religion teaches the earth is flat. And you're literally telling centuries, millennia of religious scholars that they're wrong and you're right. And most of the really religious ones will tell you that if you don't believe the earth is flat, then you don't believe the Bible and you're going to hell. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's an interesting thing because they can't actually win on scientific because they got fuck all, but they also can't win on religious grounds either because it still goes against what everybody else says. It's their interpretation and it's a real stretch of an interpretation at best.
And calling science a religion is just goofy as all hell.
Right.
Yeah, you can't blindly believe in science, but when something's been peer reviewed a few times and been proven to work to the point where, yourself, Mike, you use some of these calculations daily, we can trust in it. It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, you can be blinded by science. I know because I've heard the song.
I'm agnostic to the point that I could not have told you whether or not the ISS was there until I personally observed it.
There you go.
I could say, yeah, it's most likely there based off the evidence, but I can't personally say it until I observed it. That's why every time flat earthers come out with this thing, this explanation, that explanation, I test it.
Yep. And it is all testable too. And by the way, the religious arguments, it's literally called an appeal to heaven logical fallacy. Or appeal to God. Asserting conclusions must be accepted because it is the will of God or the will of the gods. In the mind of those committing the fallacy, it's those allowing it to pass to as a valid reason that the will of God is not only knowable, but that the person making the argument knows it and no other reason is necessary. It is literally a logical fallacy to use religion, because you're also telling people of other faiths that, you know, they're fucking doomed because they don't believe the earth is flat. You know,
Right.
come on. Matt.
Yeah.
M2M. I hope you're going to read out PJ's.
Yeah, I just want to address what PJC noted says. It's interesting that Werner von Braun's gravestone has Psalms 19:1 on it.
So what?
That's fine, yeah. I mean, but it's not evidence for anything, nor does it prove anything.
No, it doesn't mean anything.
Quite literally, it means nothing.
It means he was religious.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it. Yeah, I mean, you can interpret whatever psalm or whatever passage that people put on the gravestone or the eulogy or whatever it is, and you can interpret it in many different ways. But that maybe that psalm meant something to him other than what you interpret it to be.
Can anybody actually remember what the psalm was?
Yeah, I
Off the
can.
top of my
It
head,
says
yeah.
God's glory is on tour in the skies. God craft on exhibit across the horizon.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
That
Earth's
makes
flat
sense.
then. Duh.
Yeah, but that makes sense for him. He was a religious guy, so like I can totally see that being on his tombstone. It makes sense to me.
Or you could.
Right.
It says the heavens are telling the glory of God. There's different translations.
Right.
Oh
right.
no! Do we have to cherry pick the translation that fits?
Well, he also
if you-
mentioned horizon. You can't have that on a flat Earth.
Oh, that's right.
You know, they have all these, like I said earlier, websites where you can look at individual versions of the Bible and read individual passages, see the differences. There's also websites in the Torah. And if you read all the ones that I have read that translate Hebrew into English directly, these are all websites, Jewish-related websites on the Torah. It doesn't say firmament. It says expanse. So
Yes. Yeah.
firmament
that's
is not what the Jews think the translation of their book actually says.
Yeah, their book.
Yeah,
That's
the one,
just
the one they wrote. So no, it's the word of God. God wrote.
Do you think the series The Expanse would have been different if it was just called The Firmament?
the firmament.
Yeah, they wouldn't get around as much.
They just hit the dome. Fuck.
First episode, bong. Series over.
Going
In
home.
relation to what PGSayNet has posted, it's kind of connected with is that why is it that people like Whitsitt and a lot of flat earthers use Operation Paperclip as if it was a secret thing, like it's been held from the population of the world. Everybody knows about it. Nobody's denying it existed.
Declassified for 50 years.
Yeah.
But then it was released. Everybody knows about it. So
It
what?
was secret at one point.
At one
It
point,
was.
yes, it was. Of course
Yeah.
it was.
It's
Because
a-
it's a
Well,
fucking thing going on.
you know why it was secret? Because we didn't want the Russians getting those scientists.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
once
that
we
was
got
all
them,
about.
yeah,
We didn't
But I mean,
want
it's the
them to
same
get
thing
them.
it's the same thing as a tombstone. That's not evidence for or against anything at all.
that's
Yeah,
right.
precisely.
And PJC then is pushing the firmament sheweth, except the Jewish word is not firmament, it's expanse. What do you say about that? So, you know,
and depending on which Bible you read that from,
Yeah.
whether it's King
Yeah.
James or whatever it is, it's just different translations,
Right.
BJ. So you're cherry picking one particular translation.
right.
And also, who chose for that to be written on his tombstone?
Oh, I'm not sure. about that.
Probably his family for some reason,
mean,
or maybe
you-
even him.
In order to actually make a point, you would, and even then it's nothing, but you'd have to show first that he chose it intentionally, and second that he chose it because he wants the King James version.
That's right.
It doesn't say KJV on his tombstone.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, you have to prove that he chose it because he was trying to send out a message.
Yeah. Well, what religion was he? What denomination was he? Does anybody know?
German.
Oh,
I don't know.
German. He might have been
Why?
Lutheran. So.
Yeah.
German Baptist.
Lutheran, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
Lutheran or
guess.
Catholic.
Yeah.
One or the
Yeah.
other.
probably Catholic, but I couldn't say for sure. No.
Well, he became
Better
spiritual after he moved to America.
Yeah.
Is that how it
Yes.
goes? Oh, okay.
he did,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
It was a later in life thing for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Operation Paperclip is a plot device in the first season of For All Mankind. I mean, how secret
Yeah.
is that, right?
Yeah. What was that?
But
It's well known about, it's well documented, but I mean, but Fluffs is still using that kind of
Right,
Operation
right.
Paperclip as if it's look at what the government are hiding from us. No,
Yeah,
we all know about it.
it's not just that one though. There's tons. There's tons
Oh yeah, loads of them. Yeah,
of government or
Yeah.
whatever things that have happened in the past, and they go, "Oh, look at that! They were keeping it from me. Where did you find out about it? Oh, on Google.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
If they're keeping it from you, how do you know about it?
Yeah, how do you find it on Google? Stop faking in the chat says Operation Paperclip has fuck all to do with the shape of the earth.
It does, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's just that they freak out and say that claim that Nazis run NASA, and they
Mhm.
still think that they still do, and they never ran
Yeah.
NASA to begin with. Everybody thinks that Werner von Braun
No.
actually founded NASA. No, he didn't.
No, they all
joined 2
fucked
days
off and
later.
ran
They-
Argentina for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
They
well,
were
can't-
overseen. I guarantee you, the intelligence community at the time was watching them closely. I guarantee it.
Oh, the Freemasons.
Yeah, the Freemasons and the Illuminati.
I mean, that's why. I mean, America's first attempt at launching a satellite, obviously, it went horribly wrong on the launch pad.
Yeah.
And the reason why they used that rocket is because the president at the time, Eisenhower, didn't want Germans involved in it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
as simple as that, So that tells you something, doesn't it? So
Yes.
it really wasn't until a little while later that they decided to let Werner von Braun, when he was still working for the U.S. Army, to use the I forget which rocket it was. Redstone,
Little-
was it?
Yeah. The
Little
Redstone.
do
Yeah, Redstone.
little do the Flurfs know though that in truth, von Braun, although he's only a brain in a jar now, still runs JPL. So, you know.
Yes.
What are you talking about? He's on the
Last
ISS.
bud.
Yeah, the whole Operation Paperclip was they weren't necessarily intended to be as deep into our military, industrial, and scientific complex as they were. The real point was not to have that brain trust go to Russia.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah. That's my
So
reason.
the Soviet Union was a problem, and they rounded up as many scientists as they could just to be able to have them in the United States and not in Russia. And it also turned out to be fortuitous for the Apollo program. So,
Oh, yeah.
the story.
I mean, even before the 50 years are up, I mean, everybody knew who Werner von Braun was.
yes,
So
Oh, yeah.
that was another big secret, literally right from the 50s onwards, really. So everybody knew who he was. So it was no big secret. Anyway, Sarcastic Barman M2M said they say Nazis run NASA, but also lots of them say the Jews run everything.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
But it's also the Freemasons. Oh, but it's also the Jesuits. It's the Zionists.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesuits, I love that.
it's the French mimes.
It's the
Everybody-
Somalians.
there you go. The French mom.
Don't
Yeah.
forget the
there
lizard
is a-
people. Lizard
Well, no,
people.
at this point, you've got the Federation Council. No wonder nothing ever gets done. You know?
There's an actual really good quote. I don't know the exact. I'm going to have to paraphrase it by Albert Einstein. It says if my theory of relativity is proven to be true, everyone will claim that I am a citizen of the world, but Germany will claim that I'm a citizen of Germany. If it's
Yes.
proven not to be true, the world will say that I'm a German, and Germany will simply say I'm a Jew.
Yeah.
So,
Brits do that with everybody from Scotland. If they do something cool, they're Brits.
Yeah. So he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. So
Yes.
whatever, you know.
Oh,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, but he got to hang out with Marilyn Monroe, so you know.
Well,
Hey.
there's that.
Yeah. Pays to be smart.
Yeah. So PJ's still going, huh?
Yeah, just, you know.
Is he still here?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
loves attention.
Downshifted
does.
into simulation theory and his
Every
certainty that it is one.
time his stuff gets pushed into, he gets painted in a corner. It's it could be a simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He drops a cog and puts it in a lower gear. All right, then.
Yeah, if it was a simulation, you wouldn't exist. We wouldn't have. Yeah,
Or maybe you're the only one that does exist, PJ. The rest of us are just part of the simulation. You are on your own in a chamber somewhere orbiting Jupiter.
Gonna make a shitty Neo.
For somebody to deny so much science and then proceed to say that it could be we're in a simulation, that's unbelievably funny. I'm just wow.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah, you couldn't simulate
they can.
the world we live in without the math that you keep denying describes the world. I mean, I don't. Well, I'm dead. I'm done.
Yeah. Put a fork in him. He's done.
Yeah. Can you imagine programming gravity into a computer? You know, you just kind of you make it so I can't jump too high.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that whole thing with Dave and how the sun just ignores the moons. What do you mean ignores the moons?
Oh yes, that cracked me.
It's
up.
like he's talking about how the sun keeps all the planets in orbit around it in this perfect clockwork orbit. And I had to stop him there and tell him, first of all, not perfect. Second of all,
right,
what do you mean by ignore the moons?
The answer to that is because they're just making some vague claims. The answer to that is show the calculations supporting this. Show how you took the model, VSOP 87 maybe, and applied the math and found that it was lacking. Show that.
Well, yeah, I asked him if he did the calc. You can calculate that. He said, but he wouldn't respond to that. He wanted to finish that script.
Yeah,
So-
let's move on.
Yeah, and then when it wasn't going his way, let's move on. Let's straw man Mike and then move on.
Yeah, I don't have the brain power to understand what you're saying to me, so let's move on, because that's how I was taking it. Because he just,
Well, it was that he wasn't prepared to, because it wasn't. A lot of times people respond to when they present something to address the presentation. It's like, well, okay, well, there's the claim. Show me the evidence. I need something to actually evaluate. Your claim is itself meaningless without some data for me to evaluate something, and I even asked him about, that piece of evidence that shows this is the most likely clause to the exclusion of all other probabilities. and when I pressed him for shit like that, that's when he got to the move on thing, because he knows he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a meme, but you could literally just like come up and say to him, "Well, the Earth can't be flat because cats would have pushed everything off the edge by now." I mean, because that's as good as evidence that he brought.
Yeah, pretty true.
Yeah. The Earth isn't flat because of kitties. All right, victory is mine.
Wow.
Toon, were you saying something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
What's
you were.
funny is-
You were about to say something inspiringly interesting, Toon.
Oh, I was?
Yeah. So you better get on with it.
Oh, I'm excited to hear it. I wish I knew what it was.
Well, we'll come back. We'll come back to you when you remember what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Threw you under the bus. Yeah.
What's funny is, in the grand scheme of things, that cat counter argument is hard to disprove.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Prove it.
Number one globe proof. If it was actually flat, all the conspiracy nuts would be saying it's round. So we know it's not.
Yeah.
There is one thing, though. There is one thing. If the earth was actually flat, in my day-to-day life of getting up, going to work, raising my son, blah, blah, yada, 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 it would change my life fuck all. If, the laws of physics were changed to work with a flat earth and blah, blah, you know what I mean? And so how does this argument of they lied to us to control us, they're really doing a terrible job, man, because my life still is just the same life everybody else has.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of times I flirt on flat earth on Facebook tells me, the government, they're just trying to silence us. That's all this is about. Well, they're doing a really fucking poor job because here you are yapping away.
Yeah, Daniel Pratt took that even to the next level and said that the Russia-Ukraine war was to cover up flat Earth and COVID and all that.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
Wow,
But
that's some serious derp right there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to cover up COVID, what the disease that
No, to
everybody
cover
knew
up flat
about.
Earth. COVID was to cover up flat Earth.
Oh, right, okay. But he's still making YouTube videos. At least he was anyway.
Basically, every major thing that happened was a distraction.
That's right.
Wow.
Are you ready for the inspiring thing I was going to say?
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
All right.
Quiet, everybody. Quiet, everybody.
When you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Yeah, because you never know. You might find a can of tuna.
That's contagious. Not Confucius.
But which way? Left or right?
No,
What if it's a spork?
Yeah,
Take the
pick it up. Yeah, pick it up.
Put it in your pocket.
Clean it.
Yeah.
Well, before you use it.
I mean, yeah. And you don't want to.
That's almost as bad as saying never eat yellow snow. Almost, it's still coming along those lines.
Watch out where the Huskies go.
Don't
Dave Murphy will.
Yeah, exactly.
Loki Doodles.
The mothers of invention.
Yeah, I love it.
PJ in the chat. I think it's in response to why they do this, why they try to hide the truth, make you believe that you have a meaningless physical only existence from random crap from a Big Bang. You're looking at it rather wrong.
But
you have to consider it this way. As massive as the universe is, with all these stars and planets, you exist. You are a singular being in a massive universe. That's pretty fucking unique and meaningful.
But we have two people that have religion in their life. They're Christians on this show right now talking to you, PJ. So what you just said makes no sense to anyone.
Well, it goes a little worse than that for them, right? They're hiding God is what he's generally saying.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, and the reason why is because, well, if people knew about flat Earth, they would all turn to God. They would be so impressed. But hold on a second. There have to be millions of people that are in on it, hiding the flat Earth. And they're not convinced enough to have one single person say something. Well, it's not very convincing evidence.
Mike.
So PJ, it's actually the other way around. I mean, if I had to be, if I were just a pet in a terrarium, what does that say about my life? There's nothing to learn. There's nothing new to explore. There's nothing out there for us to know. But if we have this vast universe, our lives and our purposes, including our belief in religion, is nearly limitless.
Yeah.
You're the one living a tiny little life hidden away and have no prospects for a future of mankind.
Well said.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And what he fails to understand is if you go back through history and look at the early development of science, their main job, hundreds, thousands of years ago, was a search for God, to find God.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of papers dating back centuries. Hey, we're trying to find God, so we're going to look over here. Nope. Look over here. Nope.
Nope.
Well, let's keep looking.
He's behind the tree. He's behind you.
And it always gets me, the religious argument is just it's sheer arrogance. It really is. That this minuscule percentage of the population knows the true nature of the earth, when every scientist, physicist, and engineer for the last 1,000 years can't figure it out. Yet those same scientists, engineers, physicists are all responsible for everything you have in your life right now, including the device you're posting in the chat with. Your freaking school bus that drives your kids to work, the car you have, the house, the freaking toaster on your kitchen counter is all because of all that science. None of that would exist without it. And yet you deny every bit of it. The very physics and science that you deny is responsible for all that.
No, God created the toaster oven. It's in Genesis. Yeah, just check.
That's okay. Well, did he create the one that uses fuzzy logic?
Yeah, you have to read between the lines for that one. It's implied.
It's no squiggles for you.
No squiggles for you. So God is responsible for pop-up toaster pastries.
Oh, so
he works
I
for
got
Apple.
the lyrics. I got the lyrics wrong. It's actually, what if God was a scientist? Is that what it was?
That must be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like real Cygnus, no MRI. When that lump happens, simple as that. It's right.
Yeah.
You think the MRI machine isn't based heavily in physics? Holy crap.
Wow.
I mean, Toon could probably talk more about that than I can, but what goes into making an MRI machine work and why it produces images, holy shit. All of physics, as you say, is wrong, there would be no such thing as an MRI machine.
No. It would just be pixie dust in a jar.
That's right.
That's just what Bill Gates wants you to think, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, man.
Just so everyone knows, pixie dust is available on the Shills merchandise site.
Yes. And if anybody really needs it, I have the link to join the Illuminati.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
MRI machines, you've probably heard flat earthers say that magnetism or electromagnetism is the cause of downward acceleration. Well, if that were the case, then an MRI machine would send all of that crazy, because it's a super strong field.
Yeah.
I think Barman's right in the chat. He says he was asking if the MRI was something descended from something NASA did. I thought that was true.
It could be for.
Yeah, it's what he's talking about is the relation that the flat earthers claimed that the reason why there was a shortage of helium was because NASA was buying up all the reserves of helium, but that's not true. The biggest user of helium gas is actually MRI scanners.
Yeah, because they're converted into liquid helium. They're cooled.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you shut off the liquid helium, that unit is now toast. It'll never run again.
Yeah. And the reason why there was a shortage of helium was because Qatar, which produces a third of the world's reserves of helium, had diplomatic relations with surrounding countries, had a diplomatic collapse, so they couldn't export it. So a third of the helium reserves, couldn't be used. So that's why, I mean, NASA did increase its consumption of helium. They wanted to snap it up before, a lot of other people did. That's true. But NASA is not the biggest user of helium. That's just not true. And I think the second, was welding, TIG welding or something, or some.
The third is
Argon.
owners wanting to make their voice
argon.
high pitched.
Argon, yeah, something like that.
Tungsten inert gas uses argon.
Party balloon
gas.
Party balloons, I think balloons in general was something like about the 5th biggest user in the world.
I believe it.
But we don't know whether that's party balloons but that could be balloons for all kinds of
Children.
uses,
Children are the real problem in this. Round them all up and lock them down. That's it.
Right. No balloons for you.
Balloons.
That's right. No balloons for you.
And people making squeaky voices. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. A little bit of history for you.
Yes, and there's not much helium. It's a low percentage in the atmosphere, so to separate it out and then liquefy it is it's not that easy.
No,
it's tricky
that's
process.
a little
uses quite a lot of energy, I believe, to
that's the
actually
problem.
separate, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little Star Trekky in its energy consumption at this point, right? It's just completely unrealistic for usage.
Yeah, and separating it out and making it pure is a really big. That's why a lot of liquids that are used for cooling is liquid nitrogen, because I mean there's so fucking much of it. It's easy to separate out.
It's the same with hydrogen. I mean, hydrogen's tricky to actually to get hold of, and then of course then you've got to turn it into liquid hydrogen, so you need to chill it down to minus 252 C, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Which takes a lot of energy to do that. So apparently something like a third of the energy of the liquid hydrogen is already being used up just for doing that process.
Yeah, it's not it's definitely not energy independent, that's for sure.
No, it's not. No.
But we have some independent energy labs coming up with some pretty cool things these days, and we're not too far off of being able to facilitate that extra energy in some ways here and there and so on. Not so much providing a surge, but there's some great advances being made in gravity storage of energy. It's pretty cool, like mechanically. That's really good stuff.
Yeah. And that all stems from like hydroelectric dams. I mean, that's exactly what that is. And we're figuring out other ways to use the same sort of application. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. The crane system and whatnot, like, why go through all the trouble of moving the water? The people are getting pretty condensed about it. It's like the transition of electronics going through when we had calculators and stuff, and then micro home computers, same growth, right?
Yeah. A lot of people are complaining about electric cars and how we you can't charge them and it's more expensive. It's like you have to take it with a grain of salt, because if you wait for the infrastructure to be in place to start producing the cars, you would never produce the cars. You have to start with the cars first. So it's a lot of things that drive how all that works too.
Well, same with the petrol engine.
Yeah.
There was no infrastructure.
Yeah. It's when Benz made the first car, it ran on something called Lagroin, which is akin to kerosene more than gasoline, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I've got some of that in my underwear.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
That tank's empty, bud.
I'm still got Mr. Fusion on my wish list on Amazon, and I keep refreshing that page every day to see. Wait for Mr. Fusion to appear.
Yeah, we need Mr. Fusion. A banana peel and a bag of garbage, and you're
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Pepsi can. Yeah,
and a Pepsi can, and the Pepsi. I never understood why he poured the Pepsi out and then threw the can in.
No. Yeah. So, fuck it.
Maybe the can's aluminum.
It's almost like you're taking a scientific analysis approach to the fictional film.
Yeah.
So we got a super chat. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You want to
we got a super chat in from Ernie Matthews. $5 is in. Thank you, Ernie. Notice how Flurfs dodge when you ask about their math background. Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those 3 weeks with the crayons, they're still scarred from it.
Yeah.
Thanks for $5, Ernie. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Ernie.
The math thing just pisses me off. It was one of the very first videos I did too. It was about the math doesn't represent reality. It's like, well, then none of what you would have would exist. That's all there is to it. And the reason it's an intellectually dishonest argument on their part, because they know the math proves them wrong, and they know they can't use math to prove a single thing about a flat Earth, and that's why they deny math and science, because it proves them wrong, and they know it.
I need a clip of Mr. Incredible getting pissed off about math for when this topic comes up.
When they say math doesn't represent reality, what do they replace it with?
Density and buoyancy. Yeah. What else?
I mean, that's the thing about
Well,
math.
there's
I mean,
still math there.
well, I mean, where do you draw the line? If they're saying that it doesn't demonstrate reality or it's not reality, so simple. We're doing simple maths every day. I mean, you go to a shop, right? You buy say $5 worth of goods, and you hand over a $10 bill. You know, you've got to know that you're going to get $5 back, because if you're not doing maths, you're just going to have to accept anything they give back to you.
Yeah.
Or how do you calculate how much, you know, your wages are? You've done so many hours and stuff of the week.
Yep.
You've got to know how much of a wage packet you should have.
Or
You know, it's simple stuff like that. You know, when does math?
How do you balance
not-
your fucking checkbook?
Yeah,
Or
when does math
no.
not
How
account
do
for
you-
anything, and when does it stop? You know.
How do you buy clothes without randomly just trying them on the rack until you stumble upon the ones that fit you? I mean, seriously, you'd be there all day.
You know.
Yeah,
So
that
exactly.
family
So-
sitting around their kitchen table doing their budget, figuring out how to send their kid to college. Guarantee you their math is reality.
Yeah.
So where does math stop being reality? At what point?
When
Where
it
do you
proves them
draw the
wrong.
line?
Yeah, when it gets in your own way of belief.
Yeah, precisely.
At the Lagrange point.
The Lagrange. Yeah, when it doesn't. Lagrange. Which one? When it when it doesn't fit the scripted narrative. That's the point.
That's where it stops. Exactly. We know the answer to it, but you know what I mean. The questions aimed at them.
That's why I pressed them so many times on. We can predict everything. How can the math and the model be wrong if we can literally predict everything, and you guys can't predict even one thing? I mean, does that make any sense to anybody?
And when
Yeah,
they
I mean-
explain any one aspect, every other aspect completely falls apart. in an
That's true.
explosion.
Yeah. It's what is it? Ad hoc. I forget what that fallacy is called.
Mm. But let's face it,
Niagara
your average
Sorry,
flat earther can't predict when mommy's coming home with pizza, let alone,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it's like when you were asking David to actually, predict when the next solar eclipse is, or hang on, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, whichever eclipse
it was solar.
Saros cycle.
I mean, well, no. What he would do is Google it, and
Yes.
and he would post. That's the answer. He would not actually do any work.
Well, I
It's
told him I
worse-
wanted to see
worse
his
than that.
calculations.
It's worse than
wouldn't
that,
know how
though. He claimed the Antikythera mechanism can do things that it cannot do.
No, yeah,
He doesn't even. It was a very bold claim, and we all know he didn't look it up.
Well,
No,
has
that's-
he got one? I mean,
No, there's only one.
Of course he doesn't
He claims
have one.
he's got a sextant.
But I've already got one.
Well, she turned me into a newt. Well, the Antikythera mechanism. I was kind of hoping he would go a little farther into that, because I love that. That's one of the search terms on TV. Every time a new show or new documentary comes out on it, I want to watch it. That thing is amazing. And the latest documentary that they've had out actually explained what it is, and it is a celestial calendar. It's amazing how well it works too. It's way ahead of what we thought.
Yeah,
Anybody
I think
was
I
capable.
saw this one as well. The newest ability to image through it gave such a more clear picture. They were clearly able to see the way the cogs work together, right?
Right. Yeah, and one of the gear ratios was this really odd number. And it's like, what is this? We couldn't figure out what this is, because you count the number of teeth, you get the diameter, you could figure out the gear ratios and stuff. And it turned out to be perfectly matches lunar cycles. I think it's what it was lunar cycles. And it's an amazing mechanism. So I was hoping he was going to go down that road, because fuck, I'm a nerd.
But it doesn't give you the location or the duration or the time.
I don't even think it predicts eclipses at all. I don't remember seeing that anywhere. It was, the planetary, so the planets we knew at the time, the motions, the moon motions, sunrise, sunset. I don't think eclipses were anywhere in there. I'll have to look, though.
I don't
just to make
recall
sure.
it. Yeah.
He said this was important. He said it's just based on repeating patterns. No, the actual location of eclipses doesn't repeat.
Right.
They're all over the place.
No.
The day of the eclipse repeats, but not the location.
That's what I tried to tell him. And that's why I brought up the Saros cycle before he did, because I knew he was going down that. The ancients knew back in the flat earth how to predict. I knew that's where he was going with that.
But again, he was going off a script. He's going off the fact that this thing exists. Therefore, this is what NASA uses.
Yeah,
he has no fucking understanding about it at all. He has literally nothing.
Yeah, he's running on faith on that script that he uses because he can't back it up. It's just I know what to say.
Yeah, it's a scripted narrative. It's really all it is. And you know, in his case, it's. I think my wife is right. He's a Poe, and it's about money. I mean, selling his app, which he can't prove is right without proving a flat Earth map. So I wanted to go down that road, and I didn't get to it.
It was an impressive shill, though, when DK wanted the link to his video, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's in my app," you know,
Oh, and I should point out that he said, "Oh, it's in my app." Well, I found his video, and we asked about the raw footage, and he says, "Oh yeah, there's a download link." Well, I clicked on the download link. It was a Dropbox thing, and it says, "Oh, sorry, error." Oh, there's no download link, so it's not even fucking there.
Apparently, he doesn't know what DK does, so
exactly, yeah. Or why? No, apparently he doesn't know why DK has earned an Emmy award.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know me at all.
Yeah.
Should have shown him the fucking water tower lift off and see what you think about that.
I still think that was so amazing. That was so amazing. He's like, that's real.
Oh yeah. That was my favorite moment of all doing that video was on MCToon's channel when he showed it to RV. And RV was watching it go, "Oh, that's real. Oh, no, they cut away. It's fake."
Yeah. It was the water tower. I'll never stop laughing about that ever.
Morons. Just surrounded by morons.
Yeah. And they don't consider, they think that everybody who's a proponent of the globe or globe tards or whatever the hell they want to call us are just people like them. They don't consider that some of us are engineers, some of us are physicists. I mean, I've seen Right the Hand try to talk magnetism with AB, and he just crushed him like a freaking bug.
Wrong guy to talk magnetization of anything with. Right. Wow.
And by the way, he's changed his channel name for those people who may be looking for AB. Ficoni. It's iron, cobalt, nickel. It's pretty interesting name. It's kind of cool. And Toon, he's an engineer. It's like all these people. There are people out there who do this shit for a living that they can only pretend to understand. And when you tell them these things, it's an immediate dismissal. They don't want to discuss it. People do stupid things for a job, and it was his way of trying to avoid having.
Yeah, I cringed when he said that. Yeah, cringed.
Like,
what?
Yeah,
so you sign off, multi-billion-dollar submarines, and that's a stupid job.
Okay, stupid job. Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting things though is flat earthers have got a back catalogue of shit. That transgresses lots of different kinds of areas of work that we all do. I mean, Mike's a mathematician. I'm a visual effects artist, but they want to be able to set up against somebody who can cover the entire range of bullshit that they come out with, that they've scripted. And there is no one person who can do it. But when they are faced with somebody who can take a section of their bullshit and just destroy it, they hate it.
They do. And I kind of got the impression that one of the reasons he decided to do this, because he thinks the shills are nothing but a bunch of know-nothing shills who do point and laugh videos. I really think that that's what he thought this was going to be.
Oh, yes. Well, I was convinced of it. Yeah.
Could I just clarify? I'm not an electrical engineer. It's what I studied.
Oh, okay.
I write software. I just don't want I don't want to.
Yeah, I understand. And there is one point I want to clarify. The
Yeah,
the previous video did say that I was a retired Navy, and I'm not actually retired. There was a miscommunication between me and Dick.
Yeah,
I was in for 10 years. But no big deal. I just wanted to clarify that point. I don't want to be accused of stolen valor or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
And besides, I kind of think it's important not to make those claims, that because like I said, I do use my real name, and it would not be too much of a stretch. I mean, if people wanted to right now, and knowing that I went to UConn, they could probably find the program from my graduation at UConn. So it wouldn't be too hard for anybody to prove anything about who I am. So try to keep things on the up and up.
Yeah, absolutely.
People can find me too. It's Duncan Kinnaird, 125 Burwood Road, Hersham, Steeler, KT12,
16 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, and if you show up without alcohol, you'll be kicked right back the fuck out.
Yeah, fuck off. Now I've got a question for MCToon actually. Now has anybody in the larger, the bigger flat Earth debunking community have tried to get hold of Robert Simmons and get an interview with Robert Simmons to see what he thinks about what they've done with his they call it like a catch out, but it's not. It was just Robert Simmons describing how he came with Blue Marble 2 and how he did the work on it. Has anybody actually thought about trying to get hold of Robert Simmons and having an interview?
I don't think anybody that we know has. I tried to contact him on Twitter, but he doesn't have open, at least when I checked. He couldn't send him a DM, so he'd have to follow me back. But I didn't go too far. I mean, probably could find an email address for him or something. Because I think that's a good idea.
I think he'd be a really interesting person to talk to, not because he's been caught out in his lie, because it wasn't at all. It would be interesting to talk to him to find out what he thinks and feels about how he's been misrepresented. Hang on, somebody say the word misrepresented.
Misrepresented.
That's the one. Misrepresented over the last 10 years. That they started talking this shit.
Well, I think since the moment he made the video.
Yeah,
I love when they bring it up because he says they use satellite pictures. Well, which is it? Are you going to go with what he said, where he said that was satellite pictures? Because it was satellite orbiting the Earth.
Yeah,
it doesn't help flat Earth.
No, it doesn't.
It still defeats flat Earth.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all Photoshop. No, it's not. It's some Photoshop.
Yeah,
because it has to be.
Satellites aren't just airplanes hovering around for years. Mike,
there'd be satelloons. And the CGI thing and Photoshop thing, because I can't tell you the number of times some flurfer said, "Show me one picture of the globe," and I'll show them half a dozen different ones that were taken on Apollo that were on medium format film.
Yep,
the original negatives still exist.
Not negative.
And they'll say that's CGI. It's like, fucking prove it. Most of these people have never even touched a film camera, let alone know what the hell it is.
That's why I always keep banging on about people, because quite often in debates, like I've said this before, you've heard me say it many times, is that Globers will kind of ignore that thing. Oh, it's CGI. No, don't let him get away with that. No, don't, please. Just you've got to challenge him. You've got to say, well, okay, fine, you're claiming that, then prove it.
Yeah,
because they can't let him get away with that.
I do that all the time, and the response always is, "Look, it's obvious. You could tell just by looking at it." And then I'll come up with I put this into Photoshop or Paint, and look, I was able to prove that it's fake. It's like, one, where did you get that? Is that an original image, or is that like the 14th download Xerox of a Xerox that somebody gave you? You know, and do you really know what it was you just did in Microsoft Paint to do whatever it is that you're doing? And how do you know that that proves what it is you prove? And I push them to, and they just run away after a while. After saying it's obvious, they usually just run away.
Yeah, I mean, I got Witsit to actually change his mind because he was in Discord, and they started talking about the last Delta Heavy launch. It was the last Delta Heavy to be used to launch military satellite. And he basically came in Discord and said it's CGI. And he didn't say, I think it's CGI. He said it's CGI. Yep. So I argued and I said, well, how do you know? I said, what's your evidence that you're making that positive claim? And I actually got him to reverse it. I said, no, okay, well, I think it's CGI. But okay, so then you don't know it's CGI then. And he just stayed silent. So I got him to reverse himself. And that's all you need to do, really. That's it, because they don't know.
Well, that's when you tell them you just need to shut up and go there.
Yeah.
Go to watch the launch and then tell me about whether it's CGI or not. You can watch it. It's not like there hasn't been literally millions of people over the last 65 years who have watched these launches. You know, when I was stationed at nuclear power school in Orlando in '82, I saw 2 shuttle launches. One I actually saw from Orlando. Well, it was just a bright light taking off, but you could see it. And one we actually drove over to the Space Center and watched it from a beach somewhere. So there have been literally millions of people over the decades who have watched launches from Florida. So it's not like you can claim they don't happen.
Yeah.
Now they claim it just lands in the Caribbean Ocean. So
Loki's got his hand up, but before we get to that point, he's like also SpaceX launches, and I can watch their stream, and 20 minutes later, I can go out and stand outside and watch the rocket go overhead. So
interesting.
So how the fuck is that CGI?
Yeah,
but anyway, Loki.
Yeah, with their whole CGI thing, you know, when they take a photo and supposedly put it in whatever magic software they plan on using. What's hilarious is if you go to their Facebook pages and take their own photos and put it through the same process, every single one of their photos are fake.
Man.
because all they're doing is playing with the levels to look for compression artifacts and going, oh look, that's CGI, that's CGI.
Severe derp in the chat. Severe.
Yeah,
derp.
PJ, are you just trying to fucking piss me off? I know that's what you're doing. You're just trying to roll me up, you little snot, you nose white fucking maggot of a shitbag. He says, but the space shuttle footage from the so-called space is an absolute joke. Flawed to the extreme. Nothing like modern footage either. Why? Because they changed from models to CGI. Yeah, shut up.
Okay, how do you know, PJ?
Yeah.
How do you know? What is your evidence for that positive? You made a very positive claim that it's CGI. How do you know? And if you're going to claim that, you've got to provide the evidence, because you can't. Because it wasn't.
He started saying there were models, but you know, you can't even do that either.
Models or CGI, I don't know. Yeah.
That whole bounce thing.
I worked on Event Horizon, working on models. I know how models are filmed, and I know how they work. Those don't look like models.
No.
If you want to see models, go and watch the Bond film Moonraker. Look at the models on that. Looks nothing like the stuff that was seen from space. Nothing like it. So shut up. Even 2001, one of the greatest films ever made. Sorry, 2001. I call it 2001 because it pisses people off. But yeah, go watch that. Still, it looks shit. 1968, that was made. Just before the Apollo missions. It looks shit. It looks great, but it looks shit compared to actual reality. So shut the fuck up, Mike Bertelson. Sorry, I'm going to shut up.
No problem. And I love the latest claims now that because they'll take photos and video of these launches and how it arcs. And it said, you can clearly see that it's coming back down. And it's like, where is it going when it comes back down? It's splashing into the Caribbean Ocean. That's where they all go. It's like, do you realize that is one of the heaviest traveled shipping lanes on the planet between cargo ships, cruise ships, pleasure boats, and nobody's ever seen one of these splash down in the Caribbean? Does that make any fucking logical sense whatsoever?
Well, I mean, you've got to be kind of careful about that, because don't forget they do shut down quite large areas of downrange.
True.
For quite a long distance with launches, particularly from Kennedy. So it's nobody's going to see it because it's closed down.
Well,
So I'm kind of
the
careful.
entire ocean.
No, of course they're not entire ocean. No, they project a plot what's likely to happen with whatever you're ejecting, for instance, say side boosters or whatever it might be, or in an emergency they need to splash down. So they
something
large parts
happens.
and also air traffic through that areas as well.
But that's a corridor. That's not
the
whole thing.
No, of course, no, it's not a whole thing. No, but it's
so there are plenty of people that I mean, there've been people that have shot pictures and video from commercial airliners that have seen these launches coming up through,
right?
So they don't clear everything out of everywhere. You can't. I mean, it's the Caribbean. It's so heavily traveled. I mean, all the cargo ships that come into the Gulf, through and into the eastern seaboard, and all the cruise ships is just.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying the entire area, but it's a significant corridor. It's
right. Well, what I do is I wind up just giving them a screenshot of what it looks like right now, because you could do that on marine traffic websites.
But what you're saying is they use rocket science to figure stuff out, as opposed to just making an empty claim.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus, there's the
Look at that feed.
limited venue flights that are, off the flight path of the rockets itself, but you're up 20, 30,000 feet and you see the rocket break through the clouds and it keeps going up.
Yep. Yeah, and of course we won't talk about perspective and why it looks like it's arcing back into the ground. And of course, a lot of times, especially of the Falcon launches or something, when you have the booster returning, so it looks like it's actually coming back down. Well, that's because that part of it actually still is, but the rest of the rocket, the next stage, is still going on up.
Yeah.
So come on, people. Well, it's getting kind of late, so
maybe it was a wrap up.
Yeah, I think it's time. Anybody else think they want to go? But
yeah, I can feel it's good time to wrap it up. I'm seeing that.
Yep.
Bunch of cunts.
Well, here, who wants to host a little round table action? How about yourself, DK? Why don't we do a little goodbyes for everybody?
Well, here we go. We're going to go around the table. We're going to say goodnight to everybody tonight, because that was a really great after show chat. It's been a while since we've actually really dug into the flat Earth nonsense. And well, I mean, people say flat Earth is dead. I don't think it is, because there's still these fucking idiots out there still talking about it. So flat Earth is not dead. Long live flat Earth. And so we're going to go down the round table, and we're going to say goodnight to everybody. We're going to start off. I'm going to start at the top at M2M.
Yeah, I kind of don't want flat Earth to die in a way, because it's fun right now. I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? It's a good laugh, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, most of us Globers, I think we don't take it too seriously. Let's face it, do we? So that's why we're pretty chilled about it. We're quite sort of confident and stuff about what we do know and what we don't know. So yeah, but anyway, no, today it's been great. Really good debate. Thanks, Mike, and thanks, David Weiss, wherever you might be. And yeah, that's it really. Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thanks a lot.
Oh, well, and before I move on to the next person, we're going to say hi to our resident fucking idiot in the chat. PJC now says, flat Earth is just getting started. Well, you've had fucking thousands of years, the same as the rest of us, so good luck with that. Let's move on to Charlie Welch.
Hey, yeah, I actually learned a lot tonight, but I mostly wanted to be fangirly and say it was awesome to share a stage with MCToon, and thank you for coming out on a Thursday.
That's just weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, yeah. I knew it was going to be when I said it anyway.
He's got his MCToon doll with him and everything. He loves you.
Slippers.
The life-size pillow that Mallory has.
Well,
before
see,
we go on,
man.
before we go on, we've actually got a good question from William Kirchmeier. He says, "When's this
Uh-oh.
lot on again?" Ooh, there you go. This could be a show.
when's this lot on again?
Yeah, that's lot he's talking about.
All the fucking time, mate.
Yeah. Hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified.
Yeah.
Oh, it got said on our channel, I think, for the first time ever. But we do quite a few shows, and it's usually just us sitting around fucking around.
Yeah, just try getting us off the internet. That's the problem. Right, let's go to Loki Fish. Let's not go to Loki Fish. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
What? Weird. I'm sorry. I just keep falling asleep when it comes to flat Earth because it's so energizing. All these new arguments they have. Oh wait, what new arguments? Never mind.
Well, you're still fighting with people on your planet, the flat Earth, the flat Mars Society. So good luck with that.
Well, we won't talk about him.
Well, PJ on Mars. Okay, MCToon, you're up next.
I got a mouthful of food.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's what you say. We'll believe you.
Thank you for having me on. And hey, good job getting DITRH to come, and hopefully you can get him to come back in a month and fail at eclipses. And definitely go after, see if you can get Austin on a week from now. I mean, he's unemployable, so he's not doing anything. Seriously, I mean, when you apply for a professional position, who's not going to Google your name?
Yeah.
What's going to come up? Oh, it's going to be seven mugshots plus. Yeah. Anyway. Right.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Right on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, MC2. Thank you very much for turning up. I tell you what, you should do a YouTube channel. I think you'd be quite good at it. Let's go to the man of the hour, Mike Bertelson.
I don't know about the man of the hour, but PJCnet, I don't care if you think it's expanding or not. Space tourism is going to completely destroy the flat Earth probably within the next decade, maybe 15 years. There's just, it will just you'll be able to go see it yourself.
No,
so
it won't destroy it. They'll just find new ways to
destroy it. I know.
Snapchat is fake. Instagram is fake.
Yeah, and Witsit, what MCToon said about Witsit is really true. Most employers doing background checks are also checking social media. And if you want a security clearance, guarantee you they're checking your social media as well as your things like credit reports and all other stuff. So what you do on the internet is forever.
Oops. Oh dear.
Yeah, tonight's been interesting, and it's kind of disappointing that a little disappointing that David wouldn't listen to anything and he just strawman the shit out of stuff, but he wasn't here to do more than follow his script.
Well, everybody unmute. Come on, just a little bit of a thank you for Mike.
Yeah, so
well done, Mike.
Well, it was I held my own. I know that I definitely crushed every argument he had, and he just had nowhere to go with it. But I'm hoping we get more, though. I would love to see Witsit come on. That would be...
Well, he's booked for next week. So, Dick's just got to send that out and make sure that he knows.
Yeah.
And so on that note, we'll go to Dick Dawson. We'll come back to you in the back.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come back to you in a minute, Matt.
I'll start by saying something to PJ here.
Shut up, Meg.
Okay, and we're gonna play the old March On song for Flat Earth. Oh, did it not go? What the hell is that?
It did not.
Yeah, there's an error there anyway. But yeah, and but Mike killed him. It was very, very obvious. But you watch just like even 15 minutes, you can see how Dave had no intention of answering anything, just deflecting and going to his next point, as if Mike couldn't answer his points. And that not a victory make in any way. So hats off, Mike. Kicked his ass. Well done. And
I mean, David just reset. I mean, we already seen him absolutely destroyed by Professor Dave, and he just reset. He just comes back to the same old shit every single time. Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Matt, you had something to say, and I tell you what, you can take us out.
No, I just sort of say, I suppose we could just finish with saying, let's move on.
And we shall.
It's over. Go home.